才从八方来，我们这辈老仔脖子上喜欢挂玉牌，香炉供台上摆，长大才开白黄牌。虔诚拜三拜，钱包里面多几百。一的是六合彩，男的是等合牌。来财，来财，来财，来财，来，中指力滚力，对应好运八方来。散了才能聚，你不出手说聊斋。这一把直接和，愿花钱交朋友。卖艺高人胆大，让那小忙3条9。回馈下社会先，摸到那顶皇冠后。找你做事人太多，事情两袖清风做。一阴一阳之谓道，紫气东来。明码标价的那些物，非黑即白。若上颁奖台，切莫张灯结彩。八仙桌的收尾，少不了弄菜。上北下南，左西右东，东南东北，西北西南，步步高升，八方来财，四海为家，家兴旺。百事可乐，千事吉祥，万事如意，顺风顺水，天道酬勤，鹏程万里。你不给点表示了吗？啊？
种瓜得瓜，种豆得豆，这不是因果，因果是科学，绝对是存在的。
Yep, what up, Jack?
老天保佑，金山银山前路有。老天教唆别管江湖龙虎斗。老天叮嘱这辈子我散不丢。老天就怕346雷总打球。魑魅魍魉总出现在秋收后，算账。魑魅魍魉总出现在秋收后，消灭。老天让我一棍铲除啮齿类，天数。第二棍附魔我打穿对家楼。因果。老天让放下屠刀，但这是他的因果。
Yo, Mac Jin, welcome to the weekend happy hour. Thank you very much for the 5 gifties. Let's fucking go, baby.
心中恶念超过善的话没办法停，要还债，兵来将挡，因为我是个耐飞天。手腕上五路财神虚空杖，挡一切。海面刮大浪，要不要求算账？我不是尬，我需要平衡阴阳，看懂这因果业障，世界上条条框框，就好像
What's up, Beijing? What's up, Beijing?
谁不想打翻身仗？谁不想打翻身仗？总有人在卖着惨，总有人想利用善。殊不知天在看，祸根找上门。你把爱拿来闹着玩，你把爱当作子弹。殊不知天在看，拍拍手，完蛋了。老天保佑，金山银山前路有。老天教唆别管江湖龙虎斗。老天叮嘱这辈子我散不丢。
Welcome, early heads. We will be starting in a second.
Марктаб жёг, я не больной. Отстань, ты не доживешь до утра даже. Всю дрянь выкину здесь, пора уже. Нет, это бред, ведь ты под опекой демона. Неосознанно все делаешь шаг. Где реагенты, чекни глаза. В кармане 5К и 5К, тохта. В кармане 5К и 5К, тохта.
Там наполовину как Тирион. Все злые, будто бы учили Слизерин. Тизери. Надо бы по-быстрому отправить визоря. Полный фильм хотим по телевизору. Мало было нам, не хватило тизера. Расписанные планы на стикерах, не презирай. Гризли заморские, робаны под сигарет. Суровые гризли убили конфет. Забыли сентимент, притупили логику. В кармане только 5, на ход ноги. Мы с тобой не просто куча биологии. Мы с тобой довольны, веки под свинцом без паники. Если углубляться, то помимо анатомии. Сегодня познакомились с ботаникой. Тиді тікелей эфирімді тек текелер көреді тебірен теңге келеді дегенмен өскен жерімде келейін қойып қойдым көлденең сөзімді қайталайды бүкіл ел менде бәрі жақсы қалыпты он бақсы бүгін кешке не істейін деп ауыртпаймын басты бізде жеті хас хули жаспын хули кеттік бәрін таста сондықтан да Қазақстанда бір ғана банда бұл қазақи пропаганда 5000 қалтамда қайдан тапсам да сенің қалаңда шайқалады орыннан саған да орын бар армандар орындалды соңында сенбегендер сорындар қалтамда тек қана 5К тоқта
Карманы 5К тоқта
Welcome, my beautiful chatters. It is indeed Sunday, the 30th of March, between 4:40 and 6:40. It is daily savings time, so I don't know if that impacted my starting streaming time, but who gives a fuck? Thank you very much, Avon, the Immortal, 11 friggin' months sub to my favorite comrade. Let's go first stream I've been able to catch in a few weeks. Happy to keep supporting a Yugo. I'm very, very grateful to you, Avon, and everybody else who puts in their labor coins and sends them my way. Thank you very much to you, and thank you to McGinn for the 5 community subs with which we started. Also, Eid Mubarak to all my beautiful, beautiful Muslim comrades. How the fuck are you doing? I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I hope you have a blessed and healthy year incoming. Yesterday we streamed. It was a fucking sick stream. Today I'm feeling really, really, really good. It is as I said, I added a little thing to the streaming setup. As I said, today is weekend happy hour, so we're gonna have a few beers, we're gonna enjoy ourselves, we're gonna try and milk as much of that sub count as possible, closer to the number we need in order to remain adless. We're gonna cover some very, very interesting topics, like the Daily Wire slowly falling apart in front of our eyes, that Gunnar guy or whatever having like a bunch of leaks on him, and a bunch of creators pretty much dismantling the living shit out of him. We're gonna have, let me see, what else? I forgot. Great professional, very professional streamer, man, indeed of the professions. We have what else? We have, so Daily Wire collapsing. We're going to keep watching the Gary economics debate with a CEO, piss drinker like last time. We're going to talk about the Eurovision, maybe. I hate whoever put this in here. We're going to talk about the Elon Musk collapse from a more financial perspective, not simply a Marxian one. The liberalism to fascism pipeline looks like a very good video. We might talk about labor over in the UK again through Gary. Talk about nightclub life pretty much slowly eroding, and socialization in general is slowly eroding, and what that has to do with the current state of this beautiful what do you call it, economy, right? Let's start with why is Israel in Eurovision at all? I agree completely with the question. Hope you guys are doing well. Yesterday after the stream, I had a chill hangout session with the woman. This morning we went for a walk, but we were interrupted by heavy-duty rain. Of course we were. I was like, I'm going to do some physical activity, and then God himself was like, no. I want you nice, fluffy, and fat, and staying at home, okay? Communications network infrastructure, actually. Yeah. The title is a little bit misleading. It's more 8 points. Why escape sucks and you should boycott? What ESC? What the fuck is a ESC? Are you talking about Eurovision, bruv? So yeah, indoor activity. Yeah, wouldn't you like to know? Wouldn't you like to know? But yeah, I prepared for the stream, and that was pretty much my entire day. Very chill. I had a nap. I watched the recent Bill Burr stand-up. It wasn't available on any of the streaming services I use, so I sailed the deep seas, if you know what I mean. It was very good. It was very edgy. It tried a little bit too hard, in my opinion, but it is Bill Burr. He never misses, okay? There were some F-slur bombs being dropped in there, but then, decent enough context for the joke. He did some friendly fire. He did some enemy fire. It was chill. Oh. Anyways, what's up? Today, as I said, today is happy hour, so I got a couple of laggers, as they say, in the background that I'm going to be sharing. Oh my god, that is surprisingly unstable. I'm gonna be sharing with you fuckers today. Let's start with this video that Robo is sending my way. Let me just get in my fucking role. I don't know. I feel weird.
Come on, everybody, buy a Tesla, buy a Tesla. Gotta get Daddy Elon out the red into the green. Come on, everybody, buy a Tesla, buy a Tesla. Gotta get Daddy Elon out the red into the green. Buy your own exploding cars now. I wouldn't get caught dead in a pussy mobile, but hey, to each their own. And ketamine. I mean, comedy. I can send you the war plans on Discord.
Yeah, we're definitely carpet bombing some country filled with brown people wearing flip flops, dude. I don't give a fuck. Can we not have a Jeff in Celestial 3, dude? Can you not throw my fucking games?
I have access to the nuclear codes. I will literally drop a predator missile on your mom's house if you don't switch. I think in order to help the children, we should remove the phones from the schools. The kids shouldn't have phones in school. When the children are exposed to phone radiation at a young age, that leads to transgenderism, as studies show. Did someone say transgender? They're making the mice transgender. They'll make you a great cup of coffee, but...
You should have gotten Rakia. Yeah, we're just starting out the stream. You never know the direction that it might take, bruv. It is a Sunday stream. It is a weekend happy hour stream. It is a 35% off subscription stream. It is a 10 gift subs equals 15 stream. These usually get completely out of order and unhinged if you're new here. So trust me, it is exceptionally wild that it's exceptionally wise that I start out with beer. Okay. So let's which one should I start out with? So let's start with a conversation about the Daily Wire pretty much collapsing.
How long was it ever left the Daily Wire?
Okay, and this is an interview in the Sean Ryan podcast, which, like, if you don't know what the Sean Ryan podcast is, it's pretty much the chuds that are so chuddy that Joe Rogan isn't chud enough. The guys that genuinely are American but also believe that
I'm Hitler's top guy.
Okay, they needed a podcast, and this man pretty much made a podcast. The entirety of the podcast of this gentleman is he brings on mass murderers that work for the American state. They say, oh my god, I killed like 17 fucking Iraqis. It was like base of shit. And then he goes down on his knees, he salutes the flag, and he rim jobs them, right? He verbally, but I'm pretty sure after the camera stop rolling, he rim jobs them really nice. Sometimes even participates in high intensity scat play. So yeah, it's the extra chuddy herder patriotismus Joe Rogan. And he has our dear friend, the Fem Ben Shapiro, Brett Cooper, on the show. To give some of you context, Brett Cooper, together with Candace Owens, were pretty much the two performers over in the Daily Wire, the world's premier chud creator platform, who kind of carried it to an extent. As people are switching off the mainstream TV button in their head and becoming more and more in tuned with good old internet slang and way of life. those clean-cut Fox presenter types like Ben Shapiro no longer can find their spot in the limelight of right-wing propaganda, and more edgy, more out there people like Candace Owens that is openly anti-Semitic can win, or people like Fem Ben Shapiro, Brad Cooper, who is just basically targeting Gen Alpha and young Gen Zers, can also foster a relatively large community which allow them to grow and create future baby Nazis. Okay? But what happened? These two people with the highest potential for growth over in the Daily Wire chose to leave. Candace Owens because she was too anti-Semitic even for the Daily Wire, and Brad Cooper because she was like, yo bro, I'm a communist now, but not really. But when it comes to negotiating my shit, I'm gonna be a communist. Like, I'm making you so much money and you're paying me not fucking enough. Male version of myself. She's talking to Ben Shapiro in this case. And Ben was like, no, bet, fucking leave if you want to. I just have another woman, another young white woman that I will put in your place and nobody will notice. Turns out everybody noticed. Everybody noticed, and it became kind of a scandal. Right-wing infighting, yada, yada, yada. People started choosing tribes over in the good old digital right online infighting. And now we have Brad Cooper with a very sizable army of one type of chud behind him. We have the Ben Shapiro tribe with a not so sizable segment of the right-wingers behind him. And we have an intersection between Brad Cooper and Candace Owens, okay? The house worker, if you know what I mean, lady. Who has like her more anti-Semitic category of friends behind her, and they are intersecting with Brett. We had the Daily Wire quite literally lose their CEO because he was like, nah, I'm good. Now we have Ben Shapiro being like, no, we're definitely not losing money. We're definitely not losing money. If you would like to know more about the actual system which the Daily Wire created, both the money that went into its original founding as well as the financial system that they've developed through the years. I have a video I've made like 2 years ago, quite literally ahead of everybody. Yugopnik, I know that because I'm in the Balkans, our time zone is a bit in the back. That's why I'm always faster than everybody, okay? Daily Wire, this video, yeah, who funds them 2 years ago? I'm too fast. I can't help it. I'm too fast, okay? So, yeah, these dudes. Also, 50 million Daily Wire offers a slave contract. So, basically, the Daily Wire, out-capitalismed itself into the ditch. They created large personalities, but they really, really wanted to play the capitalism game and be like, we are the owners, you are the worker, shut the fuck up. We'll pay you as much as we choose to pay you, and we'll take millions off of your digital presence. Turns out like that's a bit more difficult to do when your product is the person, okay? You're developing personalities, and the only thing you're doing for them is uploading their videos on your channel and maybe doing a couple of fucking Facebook posts and Facebook ads and YouTube ads and shit. These people slowly started realizing that they're basically being conned. They got a little bit of class consciousness and not the right type, and they ended up leaving the Daily Wire. They're losing numbers when it comes to just regular viewers because Ben is just not as attractive as he used to be, both literally and metaphorically as number one. Divorce and a crash out instead of 50 mil. What a deal to make that. What a deal maker that Steven guy is. Absolutely. Oh, sorry. Apologies, chat. There to balance out the cough. What was I saying? So yeah, so they're losing a lot of views because these massive contributors contributors are leaving the fucking platform, but also as they are leaving, they're starting up. They are starting up their own little.
I'm Hitler's top guy.
And they realize that a very easy way to start up your own little Hitler's top guy is by quite literally just talking shit about your previous employer. So not only are they losing moneymakers, but these moneymakers are starting their own platforms and they're openly shit talking them. Including small-headed Fem Shapiro over here going on Sean Ryan's podcast and basically explaining the split. This has come out 2 days ago. Let's see it straight from the horse's mouth, quite literally, but a very hateful, bigoted horse that pretends she's a pony. But do not be deceived. It is Satanum incarnatum sacmaidicatum. James from the internet, thank you for 7 months. Ben Shapiro not being able to find the spot is a daily struggle. I love it. Bill Vlog, thank you for the 6 months. Balkanize the world. Let's fucking go. Balkanize it so hard that it becomes Unitas Mundi. Literally Brad Cooper, bro. I love the jacket, Hugo. It's like a short sleeve fucking thing. It's a short sleeve fit. Anyways, cheers, chat. Last reminder, 10 gift subs equal 15 on this fucking stream. You have 35% discount. That pretty much makes your gift subs, specifically on my channel, like 70% discounted because you get 15 for 10 at 35%. So yeah, they're basically 30% of the original price. Keep that in mind as we go on. It is a weekend. It is a fucking happy hour. Eid Mubarak to all my Muslim friends, and let's have some fucking fun! Thank you, Bill, immediately for fucking listening to Financial Logic and participating in this very much definitely not Balkan scheme of growing the channel. Thank you for the 10. And you see, when somebody as beautiful as my friend gives me a 10, I give you another 5. Thank you very much, Bill. I fucking love all bills. Okay, not all bills, not every bill, if you know what I mean, brother.
How long was it after you left the Daily Wire that...
Adult
Stop,
friendships are
James.
really hard.
When you left, your maid of honor...
What does this next chapter look like?
Do you want to say anything to her? What was the final straw? I mean,
There wasn't
almost nobody...
They were not paying me enough money to make the new Hitler Youth. So I said, I'm going to be making the Hitler Youth all by myself.
would give that up.
Dollar bills, yeah. More slugs, more dollars.
And start from scratch. And that's why I respect you so much.
Oh, yeah, yes. Sucker. There you go. He's the king. This is the ultimate glazer podcast. I've told you 100 times. But usually he's glazing these 6'4" American soldier genociders, okay? Fucking people that are professional mass murderers 85-90% of the time. Sometimes he has somebody relatively decent, okay? And he spends the entire episode thanking them for their service and begging them to please shit in their mouth. So now it's going to be very interesting to see if he will also do the same with Brett.
It was terrifying. I had to, Alex and I had a conversation. This was not like...
you say that Hassan has a small head. I present Exhibit B, okay? If we're talking about small heads, I present Exhibit B, bruv.
This is a lot of thinking and praying and analyzing and...
Oh yeah, you really prayed. You were like, Lord, should I inspire the next generation of reactionary chuds while making millions? Or, dear Lord, should I inspire the next generation of chuds by making tens of millions? Please, Lord, advise me on what I should do. And then nobody answered because God couldn't hear you talking from that tiny fucking mouth, bro.
We looked at each other and we're...
It's a compliment in Asia. Youth in Asia. Oh, I mean, I wish this lady got to interact with some youth in Asia. We're back to zinning, by the way. Like, talking to youth in Asia and interacting with youth in Asia is really good.
We're just kind of like, are you willing to, or we, basically willing to lose everything and start from scratch.
Lord, should I work for 99% Hitler? Or should I mold myself into a new 99% Hitler and just talk to people directly and make my bag? Dead to revisionism. Dead to everybody except you, Romka. I love you. Cheers. Cheers, my dear Tavarish.
Because again, we had, Alex had just started his own business.
These are Alex had just started his own business. Are you talking about your husband? Oh my God, she's a husband girl. I hate wife guys so much, but the only people I hate more than wife guys are husband girls. Bright spearmint, okay? It's sperm with mint. I'm having bright sperm with mint, okay? Very bright. So usually not very. What's the word? When the sperm is very bright, that means it's not. It doesn't breed as easy, okay? I wonder if male rights will show up again. It would be really nice if he shows up right now as I'm hating on a woman. We might be able to relate on some shit. How the fuck can you even do zins? Every time I try one, I throw up. You gotta find the one that works for you, bro. Actually, no, don't. Like, don't do them. But if you're smoking, then do them and stop smoking. Oatmeal ass looking sperm ass motherfucker.
We had bought this farm that was like, it was a stretch, but we really wanted it.
Oh my God, she is talking about her husband. They bought a farm. Me and my husband bought a farm. What does her husband do? What does her husband do? Isn't it unhinged if she starts making more money than her husband, as she preaches to people, to women specifically, that they should be okay with making less money than their husband? They should be more than okay with their husband actually being pissed off and maybe slapping them around a little bit whenever they make more money than him. Wait, she's married? I'm out. You were in? Why were you in? Chat, I swear to God, you guys will betray the cause just because you're horny for a fucking 4. Like, at least betray the cause for a 9, bruv. For this fucking tiny-headed little fucking midget girl. What the fuck, bro? I would not gonna lie. What? You have no fucking taste, okay? I need to slap some fucking wisdom in your heads, chat. Jesus Christ. This fucking thing. Are you Russian? No, from the Balkans, tavarish.
And I was like, I could leave, and it could backfire on me immediately.
Because you bought a massive farm, so you might not be able to financially sustain the new thing you bought. Okay.
Nobody could care. Maybe I wouldn't make any money. Maybe I would have no anything, and I basically just had to decide, like, does that matter?
You would have to basically sustain yourself exclusively from what your husband makes, which is something you're constantly trying to teach young girls to do. So why not just quit? I mean, if it was too toxic, that should teach you that it's not a woman's place to try and rise high through her career. A woman's place is next to her husband in the fucking farm, milking the fucking cows and milking him. Don't you know that? Isn't that what you're teaching everyone? So if, like, work got too stressful, if it was too much, if it was taking you away from how much time and attention you need to give to your husband, then maybe stop doing so. Listen to your own advice, lady.
Matter to me. And it didn't.
And it worked.
Yeah. But it wasn't because I was like, yeah.
1 million subs in 1 month when you launched your new show.
Yeah. It was very humbling and gratifying. I was like, okay. But it was, I mean, it's terrifying. And I literally, like, our conversation was like.
Also, Yugopnik, I predict her right-wing media company will also get employees bigger than her. The exact thing will happen that happened to the Daily Wire. In the long term, it most definitely will. The problem with right-wing media companies is that they are very good at getting seed money, literally like tens of millions of dollars. You get it. and then you create a particular audience. But as America is becoming more and more reactionary, and the deeper we go into late-stage capitalism, and the more evident the contradictions become, the particular media house will have to become more radical in order to accommodate these more and more and more reactionary opinions. Now, only right-wing media which is ready to accommodate those more right-wing positions will be able to survive. And pretty much at the end, you will have white male only type of media houses that will have absolutely any views. Ben Shapiro is now indirectly pretty much being thrown under the bus because he doesn't want to touch the anti-Semitism shit. He doesn't want to virtue signal to people that, Jews suck. Obviously, he's a Zionist fucking psycho. But he doesn't want to touch that shit. There's other people that are willing to touch that shit, like Candace Owens. So Candace Owens is going to grow. But then sentiment against black people is going to increase, negative sentiment. And she might not want to touch it as much as she's willing to touch it. And then they'll move to the next guy, and next guy, and next guy. They like to joke around that left-wing revolutions eat their own children. Well, right-wing counter-revolutions eat their fucking children for breakfast, lunch, and dinner as well, brother.
Are we willing? My mom had just decided to move to
Basically what I'm saying is right-wing media companies are victims of their own success. They push people so far right that they're even more right-wing than they are. So they move on.
I was like, are we willing to go move back in with her and literally start over? If you're funding our life now, Alex, and are we willing? My mom had just decided to move to Nashville. I was like, are we willing to go move back in with her and literally start over? If you're funding our life now, Alex, and I can't help it all, and I'm making no money. If all of it went away, and at the end of the day, I don't really care about being famous. It comes with what I do, but I would be very.
But she's literally saying that she cares about how much money she's making off of this thing. Okay, so the main question was, what was the pain point of you potentially leaving this thing? And she's basically saying. The question was, would I be able to make as much money as I was making in the Daily Wire if I start my own thing? So, very much in the open, saying that it's for the fucking grind sesh, bruv.
I would be just as happy if I was telling stories in a different capacity. Mm-hmm. Again, it's finding the root of what you love to do and then applying it. I don't need...
Barry, did you just make me play a fart sound? I'm about to put you in the corner in the first fucking 15 minutes of the stream, my beautiful. I'm kidding, never change.
Need this to survive. I don't crave it. I do it because I love sharing stories with people. I love hopefully making them think differently about the world. I love making people feel like they're not alone in whatever they're going through, whether that's on my subscription platform where we do our Dear Brett series and I'm able to talk to people. I had a girl last week talk to me about, she has a grandfather with dementia who is, forgetting who she is and has gotten violent and is how do you go through that? How do you still love?
And the girl was like, and there's no fucking health system that can support him. So it's all on my shoulders. And now I'm struggling both financially and psychologically because I need to take care of him. But, he's getting violent and maybe I need some professionals to take care of him, et cetera, et cetera. And Brett is like, no. You sound too much like a disgusting red, you little fucking bitch. How about you take grandpa behind the fucking shed and you do what every proud white woman in the United States has been doing for centuries. Take care of the motherfucking family. What advice can she give her?
Somebody and be there, but protect yourself and know that that isn't the person that you know anymore.
She probably told her, buy a gun. Yo, grandpa has dementia and he's becoming violent. And Brett is like, buy a gun. You need to buy a gun. Here's a referral link for 20% off your next Glock.
To talk about my brother, which I don't often get to do. And it's I've had so much crap happen in 23 years. It's I hope that I can make somebody's life a little better if they haven't experienced this and they're now going through it for the first time. I hope I can make you feel less crazy about the world and feel less alone. But I don't have to have 4 million or 1 million subs to do that. Like that isn't why I do this. I could go work, I could go back to Trader Joe's and I'd be happy.
Well, you just described the why.
Yeah.
And you hit it. And you seem very fulfilled.
Yeah.
That's good to see.
So
Not
if
a
it
lot of
went
people
away-
have that, man.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people feel fulfilled in what they're doing.
Yeah. And that was the first step to freedom. Of being like, I'm okay if this doesn't work, and I'm willing to fight to make that happen.
When you left, your maid of honor, best friend, was it Reagan? Is that her name? Took over the comments section. How did that feel?
Oh, how's that going? How's that going? Well, that's not going great, is it? Holy shit. Yo, mods, the comment section with 3.8 million subscribers is getting pretty much the amount of viewers that we're getting on Yugopnik Clip channel, bruv. By the way, check out Yugopnik Live over on YouTube, where we post clips, and it's basically a co-op with my beautiful mods and editors. Oh, Lord. Yeah.
Friendships are hard.
Are you guys still friends?
I don't say so.
Would you like to still be friends?
Of course. I talked about that actually in another Dear Brett thing. Adult friendships are really hard. You always think it's going to get easier. Kind of just gets harder.
And she plugs. Oh my God. I don't know if you realize what just happened. The guy asked her about a colossal betrayal by a close friend that she brought into the company that was willing to throw her under the bus in order to develop her own career. And our dear Femban Shapiro here said, oh, yeah, I got like a video about that. Like, go check out the channel. Subscribe now and avoid the ad that is going to play in 4 minutes and 30 seconds. For $6 a month, free through Prime, or if you want to gift to those less privileged than you. For every 10 gift subs here on YugopnikTwitch, you get another 5 gift subs from me, myself, and I on top. So it basically becomes 70% off only today. Ends today.
And with more people knowing who you are and having influence and having eyes on you, then you kind of question people's motives in being friends with you, and it's kind of like a hard knowing how to meet people, and so I'm like loyal to maybe a fault. But I like.
Do you feel that she was...
Thank you, Volleybay, and thank you, Not That Doesn't Work Either, for the subs. Thank you, beautifuls.
disloyal in taking the role?
No, she can do. She's an adult. And this is what I will always stand by. You have to make the decision that is good for you and your family.
Oh, at least she's ideologically consistent. So, you know, the classic right wing, the grind above all, the grind above human connection, the grind above community. At least she's consistent. I'll give the bitch that.
I did that, and she did that.
Why do you think the friendship fell apart? If you wish her the best of success.
Oh my God, it's not that deep, bruv.
Friendships are hard.
Do you want to say anything to her?
That's a difficult question.
You can say, I would have brought you over to my show and you would have made more money. Why are you fucking idiot and stayed over on the Daily Wire, bruv? You literally suicided your fucking career, bruv. And for what, bruv?
But at the end of the day, I do I wish you success.
The tone of this interview is so self-serious. It's incredibly so fucking self-serious, especially because they're just talking about a fucking YouTube channel, bruv.
Yes, and I wish you well. And I hope that she...
Like, holy shit, this is not the betrayal of Troy, bruv.
This is the thing.
You wanted more money. You left the fucking company. The friend you brought over was like, maybe this is an opportunity I can make more money on the fucking grind set, and went in on it. But at least I respect Femme Shapiro for sticking to her beliefs, and her beliefs basically being fucking run over a baby toddler if that means you will get money for yourself and your family, okay?
Things that she wants, and I never wish that, to not work for anybody. But I mean that genuinely. There have been so many people that have come in and out of my life over the years. And I think that it's important to let go. Can't control everything, even though you might like to. People make their own decisions. Sometimes it hurts. But at the end of the day, everybody's figuring it out. And we make choices, we live with choices, we do what we believe is best for us and our goals and our dreams. So yeah.
Wonderful. A new child
Good for you.
Subscriber.
That's
Thank you, Ali, for the gift sub. Thank you very much.
a healthier way to handle it.
Good for you. How long was it after you left the Daily Wire that...
Hype Train incoming. If Hype Train begins, we watch Chinese TikToks and not this stupid fucking schmuck pretending to be fucking fake deep. As she literally just took a fucking career step, and the Daily Wire just replaced her in a very stupid way, of course, but she took a big fucking career leap in order to make more money, completely motivated by fucking finances, because she was like, if I'm gonna create the Hitler Youth of the future, I might as well create it while making 100% of the profit instead of 70% of the profit.
You started it.
Sup, Robo?
My last day was December 10th. And I think we started the show at the end of January, I believe. It was a good rest period. I had a lot to consider and recalibrate and reflect on. And it seemed a lot longer in the moment, because you go from to silence. It was really nice. And I had to think about a lot of the things that we've just spoken about. And I had already been thinking about that for months leading up to that. Of the why and the how. And what can I build and how can I produce it in a way that is authentic, that is meaningful, that doesn't compromise values.
There you go. Key word, doesn't compromise fucking values, especially when talking about the Jews. The Daily Wire doesn't want to talk about Jews. But I'm okay with talking about Jews. Give me money, Jews. Give me money, Jews. I'm a little girl. I will talk about Jews. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And I wanted to do right by people. I care so deeply about this audience and this community that I've built. And I know that they trust me. And I care for them, and I wouldn't have what I have today. I mean, they've changed my life in a myriad of ways, where it's like having this community of people that tunes in and watches you, it makes me better. It makes
Thank you, Ali, for the gifty, brother.
me articulate. It makes me have more integrity with myself. Like, they hold me to high standards and encourage me to continue holding myself to high standards.
Okay, let's see what the high standards are. Okay, Brett, let's see your high standards, shall we? Brett Cooper, already at 1.4 million. High standards. Democrats are rebranding and it's insufferable. While selling your ass online is not a good idea. The incredibly high standards. Can boobs save the planet? Oh my God, the depth of this commentary. Why trans activists are attacking the gym owner. Oh no, the transes are coming for the gymses. The growing regret amongst trans teens. Uruduru. I will dedicate my life to the pursuit of truth, happiness, and transphobia. Here's why the internet hates Meghan Markle. Oh my God, Meghan Markle's new show. She really knows how to get that fucking idiot woman money, bro. Why Megyn Kelly weighed in on Elon's baby mama drama. Oh, let's run defense for fucking Elon, bro. The 5 biggest highlights of Trump 2.0. Yes, you. I can see what you're doing. I can see what you're doing.
What happens when a leader is corrupted by a desire for power and fame? When the mission gets lost and they are willing to compromise everything for a buck, for a vote, for popularity, you name it. They might ride that high momentarily, but history and also current...
You see, she ain't so sad no more, bruv. She's realizing that fucking dinero is incoming, blood.
Events have shown us that they will always inevitably fail. And that is exactly what is happening right now with the modern Democrat Party. Now, it's not news to anyone that the Democrat Party is a mess after the 2024 election. I mean, they are like a floppy fish.
It's like a fucking invasion of the body snatchers in this fucking setup. Holy shit.
Out of water. They have no idea what's going on. Nobody's working together. There is no unified message, and we are watching all of that unfold. I think for them, it is pretty heartbreaking and disastrous, but for me, you know, I've been able to laugh at it. I think we've all been able to laugh at it over the last couple of months. I mean, they have completely lost touch with their voter base. They have lost the trust of their voter base. The party is now run by these geriatric elites who are trying to hold on to power. And then the party itself, like the grassroots messaging is...
Everything she's saying to an extent is true, but imagine if she was saying it about the Republican Party, it would also be true.
driven by left-wing young people who are radical and who hate most of the people who are actually in power. So it is just a complete mess. And the smart thing to do, what I would advise is, you know, to take a step back, to take a pause, to...
But wait, is it a problem that it's run by geriatric elites or that it's run by left-wing people that hate people who are in power?
Look inward to do some self-analysis, you know, look at their failed policies and maybe redirect. But of course, that strategy would just make too much sense. That would be...
By the way, the elites are Jews, right? She cooked and burned all the food. Not very homekeeper style, bruv. What's up, Malteser?
Too genuine. And of course, the Democrats cannot do that. Instead, they have put David Hogg in charge of the DNC, and Gavin Newsom started a podcast. Apparently, those are their two big strategies to take back power in 2028. And this podcast, Gavin Newsom's podcast, we've all been talking about it, it is actually indicative of a far broader trend that I want to talk about today, that we've seen really with the Democrats for the last decade. Calculated rebrands to try to reverse engineer authenticity and trust with voters. But I mean, come on. The gig is up. Whether it is...
Now imagine if she's talking about herself.
Engineer with the Democrats for the last decade.
Okay, now imagine if she's talking about her own channel. Would it fit?
Calculated rebrands to try to reverse engineer authenticity and trust with voters. But I mean...
Blood. This shit writes itself. Thank you, Princess, for the 8 months. Yay, Fem Shabibo, bro.
Come on. The gig is up. Whether it
no,
is...
don't you know? They've the relationship is over. Fan Shapiro and whatever Shapiro is, Shapiro are no longer a thing.
Newsom on his new podcast, or Gretchen Whitmer's recent flirtation with Trump, Hillary Clinton's innocent grandma act and how she just has hot sauce in her purse, or Kamala being brat all last summer.
God, get new jokes! God fucking damn it! It's fucking 2025.
It is all fake. They are trying to emotionally manipulate their voters, but we are not falling...
Look, she's attractive, but she looks like Ben Shapiro. Jesus Christ, I have the opposite taste of chat. Who the fuck are you calling attractive, guys? Who the fuck are you calling attractive? This is the starting fucking NPC character when you're building your White Sims character, bruv. When you click starting Sims character, you move age back to between 20 and 25, and you click white skin. This is the first one you get, including the fucking outfit, bro. Basic Becky is shit, bruv. But thank you, Batman the Horse and Sasha Darling, for starting a hype train. Finally, you will save me from this white devil. because we will be watching some fucking Chinese people on their version of the TikTok, which is what we do here on YugopnikTwitch whenever the hype train begins. And now, a lot of people are modest all over the internet. I am not. Without a level 8 hype train, I do not even say thank you, for I am a true size queen, but only when it comes to trains. 10 gift subs equals 15, 35% discount. Let's make that train go choo-choo. And as long as it goes choo-choo, we entertain ourselves and don't have to watch right-wing slop that makes us want to commit seppuku.
Just do wanna do and do wanna do it. It's alright. Just do wanna do and
Okay, that was a video. It's a cat! It's a more cat. It's a car. Gotta go vroom. Oh, fuck, that's sexy. Ooh. Oh, yeah. Gotta go very vroom. Gotta go very vroom. These are not edgy enough.
谁给我馒头，谁给我拳头，我会。
Oh my god, the algo is too fast, bruv.
In China, do you guys eat dogs and cats? Woof woof and meow meow. In China?
Okay. What is happening? Fucking Yakub, bro. Literally Yakub visiting China. Holy shit.
Oh my god.
Okay, that was Yakubian technology right there.
窄路斜线。
Go! Hey! Back up! He about to do a trick. Don't make him know. Oh shit! Ooh, let me do it.
Your path created a Nexus event.
What the fuck is this algorithm? Okay, this.
在深不可测的海洋深处，住着一只不寻常的象脚鲫。它有着紫色的羽毛。
These are funnier when it's in Italian.
I will never be what's apart. Maybe in magazines, but you still be my star. Baby, cause in the dark.
二战导火索。
That was kind of funny, but it was fake. What is this algo? It's a very bad algo. That's what the fucking algo is.
Onita, I have a dick. I have a dick.
This is more like it.
Onita, I have a dick.
Okay, I love it, but the hype train is over. Back.
For it, and neither are the modern Democrats. And on the
Okay, I'm not listening to this fucking thing, whatever the fuck this is. Okay, back to the playlist.
I found this.
Now, remember the guy that basically started everything between Hassan and Elon Musk? The guy who Elon all the time pops in, in his tweets and says, "Man, that makes sense." The big right-wing, right-wing gaming commentary king. Well, apparently there's a video that just came out, Gunnar Nomicon, grummz Part 1. So let's see where this video goes. It's extremely fresh, 11 hours ago, but it's making the rounds. So I want to learn more about my least favorite person in the world. So let's do this. What is this? Chat saying Fem Shabib was attractive or like this moth. Brother, I crave the forbidden lamp, brother. Don't do it, brother. No, brother, please. Yeah, absolutely. Even worse, arguably.
One of the leading thought lords of the reactionary right wing is more of a freak than you, I, we, anyone could actually imagine.
So I guess we got a lot of receipts about this fucking weirdo, and apparently he's really fucking freaky, and not like the type of freaky that's like, man, don't kink shame creepy, but we're talking animals and shit freaky. So let's see the direction it goes in.
This all comes with receipts. This is all grounded in fact.
I crave the 4 out of 10 lamp, brother.
This is all quite legally safe for me to talk about. This is all public record. I'm getting this out of the way quickly because I know the person I'm going to be talking about is the kind of person to scream that he's being doxxed, cancelled, and threaten lawyers. This all started from a historic data breach, which isn't actually like quite a safe way to get into this, but when I corroborated it with other sources, I found out that this was just sitting out in the open for anyone to find who knew exactly where to look for a name, a registered company. And then you start pulling on a string and pulling on another string and another string, and you find out that this goes deeper than you would think. Don't worry, Mark.
So I don't know, chat. Am I supposed to know any additional things about this particular person? I'm going into this completely blind. I'm going into this completely blind. The only thing I know about this guy is the type of shit that he posts on Twitter, which pretty much encompasses exclusively saying, herder, this game be woke. Herder, don't buy a game that woke. Herder, buy a game that more specifically targets people who do not fuck with the woke. That's, the general premise. The deeper premise is that he basically figured out that you can make a lot of money by underdeveloping a game and instead focusing on marketing the funding of a potential game by saying, I am really making this game for you, chuds. Hello, fellow chuds. This game is really for you. It's going to have tits. It's going to have ass, and it's not going to have any blacks or any gays. It's going to be fucking awesome, bro. And then made a lot of money by basically doing a lot of unfinished Kickstarter campaigns where he made a lot of cash from people who just want to finance a game because it agrees with them ideologically or some shit.
I'm not going to show any more than I have to. You and your family will not be identified. This is not doxing in a meaningful sense that you're going to talk about. This is just you and me having a conversation.
I only know that he's a Musk dick rider and calling every game woke. Yeah, but apparently he made a lot of money out of calling every day woke. He worked at the breast milk thief game studio.
Everyone else is along for the ride. By the way, don't reuse passwords for shit like this, especially if you're trying to make 2 separate personas with different names that you're gonna LARP as for 20 plus years. If you're a 40-year-old man at the time and 60-plus-year-old now, you've done that.
Wait, there's no way he's 60 plus. Is this guy 60 plus? Is a 60-plus-year-old man running around Twitter calling certain games woke because no booba? That's what he's spending his time on. Impressive.
I can establish that. But don't. That's an advice for anyone else looking to start up a separate online persona in the future. Use a completely separate email with a completely separate password. It might actually prevent this. Don't use the same lawyers either, actually. The same lawyers to register your company. There's so many steps that this guy has failed at to protect himself, and it's just all come unraveled with publicly accessible information. Also, don't use your real name to register these emails. Your real name's out there on this historical Who Is information. When you update this information, it doesn't go away, it's there, it's stored. The internet never forgets is the phrase I summarize up a lot. The internet never forgets, the internet will never let go, the internet remembers everything that you have done, everything that you have purchased, everything that you have registered. Somewhere deep down until that drive stops spinning, the internet will know, and now we have found it. Some of this, like, disgusting onanist defenders are going to immediately reject the video based on how many subscribers and followers I have, and I don't care. I am a podcaster, I have a normal job. Consider getting one of those before you start trying to swing at me. Most of you are on Twitter for 15 hours a day arguing over whether Yasuke is too woke.
I hope my guy didn't call being a podcaster a normal job. I'm guessing he has a podcast and a normal job, but still. Good work, man. Good work. Looks good.
Statistically, you don't know me. I know this. You know this. We know this. By the time this finishes, you're going to know me, and that's fine.
Sup? Thanks a lot for the raid yesterday to Vaishal. Thank you very much, Kairos. What's up?
It's nice to meet you. My name's MLYP. Pause the video, grab a drink. We're going to be here for a while. I want you walking away from this video bemused at the idea that there is a 60-year-old man out there who has a maid outfit wearing VTuber as his public-facing persona, who abuses his parents' goodwill to front up LLC companies so that he can avoid California taxation law, while also trying to drive gamer culture further to the right because he thinks things are just a little too woke for him these days, and his little 60-year-old brain can't handle it. There's a reason I'm showing my face on camera today. There's a reason that I'm not hiding behind an avatar like I normally do. I am better than him. This is just one of the ways. I'm better than him in every way that fucking matters, to be honest. Like,
the same way, all people who do not watch ads, like the ad that is going to play in 2 minutes and 30 seconds, are objectively better than anybody who watches ads. Okay, you heard it from the horse's mouth, and I am the horse. So do consider becoming a sub for $6 a month, less through Prime, or even less in certain countries, or by gifting subs to those less privileged than you, and only here on YugopnikTwitch. For every 10 gift subs, I will donate another 5, now at a 35% discount, which makes 10 gift subs equal 15, which pretty much makes a gift sub 70% discounted only today. Thank you very much. Let's make chat go purple.
On a moral level, on a conceptual level, on a how I earn my money level, I am better
Yugopnik VTuber when I would rather kill my own mother
than this man. And I don't care that you think otherwise. I know this in my belief system and his, I am better. I am going to keep saying that this is very findable information. I am going to keep saying that this is all legally accessible information. This is not being doxxed, this is not being cancelled. I'm going to address that again and again just to hammer the point home, because the target of this video is going to come with lawyers, or this target of this video is going to come and try and whip up a screaming mob that he's been cancelled and send a harassment campaign my way and other people's way. This is part of what he does. None of this is secret information that you are legally allowed privacy over. This is part of public California state record. I will not be revealing addresses, I will not be revealing full emails. I can assure you they match, Mark. You are just going to have to trust me. You know it, I know it, and everyone else will know it. The fact that you're out there deleting things rapidly when you got a hint that people knew about this kind of proves that it's you. And that's what actually matters deep down. In your bones, you know what's about to come out. These same emails that I'm referring to that were in that data breach earlier have been publicly posted by you in multiple places across multiple Who Is records. That's a key and public-facing part of internet structure. That is not doxing. That is all right here when you check DNS and Who Is records. That will never go away. That is part of what you have put out into the internet. If I type your name into a specific, it's got 2 names for some reason. I wonder why that is. I really want you to understand that we know. You've gone around to try and delete. Isn't it fascinating to think about? Since leaving Blizzard, he has been coasting on that success and to build clout in the reactionary online space, joining Gamergate 1 before leaving because he was too transphobic at the time. He continued.
Gamergate 2? What are you trying to tell me that there's a Gamergate 1? You're trying to tell me there's a Gamergate 2?
You're coasting off the back of this and use the petition to bring classic WoW back and use that to leverage it into even more clout. That's another one of his big career highlights.
Jesus Christ, that is so fucking pathetic.
Wonderful.
Organizes harassment campaigns against developers that he...
Thank you, Eating the Dogs, for the 5 fucking gifties. And I believe there was a 5 gifter before. Let me check. Yes, it was McGinn with the 5 gifter before, which puts us at a 10, which baby means another 5 for me, myself, and I. Nobody has to watch ads in YugopnikTwitch. Absolutely nobody. Thank you, Sasha Darling, for another gifty. You're quite the darling, and he's another 5 for me, myself, and I, the greatest darling to ever darling.
Thinks doing things a little too wokely, and by a little too wokely, I mean doing it while being too much of a woman or being maybe too brown for his tastes. I keep saying he's coasting, and he's fucking coasting. Our boy Mark Edward Kern has been nothing but a failure since leaving Blizzard Entertainment in 2005, reduced to tweeting 100.
But unironically, that's kind of his genius to an extent. He's the first one to realize that you don't actually have to create a product, in this case a video game. You can simply scream at people that this product is going to be about you. Politically, your opinions, your political opinions. Well, this game is for you. No, give me money. Give me hundreds of dollars, not thousands. If you have more money, give me tens of thousands of dollars because it's for you. Am I going to finish the game at any point? Absolutely not. But I'm going to attempt to make it for you. And for some magical reason, it works. But turns out it's not magic. It's just right-wingers are incredibly fucking stupid and incredibly fucking insecure. And anybody confirming their biases even for 2 fucking minutes equals profit.
100 times a day.
These people will sell their fucking mother in order to spend money on a game that will never be made, only because the producer of the game said, we will fight the wokes by making all the characters have big, juicy fucking tits. Okay? And you know what would be hilarious? You know what would be the hilarious thing to do? To make a super fucking woke game that also has big tits. Because then they would have no tools left at their disposal. Because to an extent, their whole fight against woke culture is to put big tits in games. Like, that's the whole thing. Sure, and no minorities, etc., etc. But what if we made an exceptionally, like a game about communists, but just filled with big tits? Like, yes, of course it would be misogynist to an extent. I agree, but it would remove boobs from the conversation. So they would not have any sort of rhetoric that would allow them to say this game is anti-woke. Because currently, the whole thing, when I'm making an anti-woke game, the game just has very sexualized outfits and big fucking boobas, okay? Sexualized outfits and big boobas. So why not make a game that is extremely fucking progressive in the storyline messaging that it wants to do, but also include lewd costumes and big boobas? Like, do both. Because I think it would unironically make their brains fucking explode. It would make them commit unintentional harikiri. Like, they would internally combust. Okay? Baldur's Gate 3. There you go. Baldur's Gate 3, they really didn't know how to react to. Very good point. Baldur's Gate 3, they really did not know how to react to. So I want more fucking Baldur's Gate games, okay? I want sexualization in games. We gotta swallow it. Swallow the small, misogynist pill. Only because it's going to be so funny. Not because it's going to do anything big. Just because it's going to be so fucking hilarious, okay?
Assassin's Creed Shadows is too woke because they've taken a historical figure and embellished certain...
Like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Literally one of the best games I've ever played in my life. We will be playing it next week on stream. One of the best games I've ever played in my life. And this was their puppy, right? It was set in central medieval Europe. It was unapologetically historical. It did not introduce people of other ethnicities just because it wanted to be like historically correct because of the kind of place that it's developing. But they kind of, to an extent, saw the type of people that were fucking with this game. And they were like, no, we want to make their brains explode. So what do they do in the second game? 2 of the main characters, including your own, they can have beautiful fucking voluptuous, wet, bareback gay sex. And that completely crushed them. They were like, man, we just felt fucking betrayed, right? But there was a single black man. Yeah, and there was a black guy, but it was with the historical context. He explains why he's there. So it made their brains literally go fucking kaput, right? They completely went crazy. So I want to basically do the same. So there we destroyed the premise that you can pretty much have a game that's based in Europe with only white people, right? And it can still be quote unquote woke. So that broke their brain. It broke their brain that it can be historically accurate and also say gay people also existed back then. So that broke their brain. The next step of brain breaking that I'm suggesting is with boobas, okay? Because for some reason they think they own boobas. No, let's have big boobas in woke games, Baldur's Gate style, okay? Sexy people, but make everybody sexy, so it's very nice, okay? Sexy people everywhere, but incredibly woke politics. It's gonna mwah, mwah, mwah. And I'm pretty sure that chatters that are not very involved in this whole the woke gamers versus the trud gamers discussion are like shaking their head in disbelief and being like, what the fuck is Yugo talking about? Like, there you go. Love K-drama. There you go. Lol, what? I completely understand you. The premise is basically the chuds are saying games are woke because reason A, B, C, or D. Usually minorities are involved, women aren't sexualized, and the storyline wants to present a relatively progressive modern take, right? So we've taken away the historical accuracy aspect of their criticism. Now let's take away the big booba equals woke aspect of it, okay?
Portions of their life in a game that's never been about historical accuracy.
Also, the Baldur's Gate 3 narrator is married to the voice actor for Shadowheart. That's interesting.
To begin with. He keeps saying that he's winning the war on the woke mind virus, and this is the year that we will actually defeat wokeness in video games. All the while, he's just beating his meat.
Argument, tiny titties can be sexy too. Of course they can be. That's not the point. The point is to take away their toolkit, okay? Also, don't take me very seriously. I'm joking. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. But even if I wasn't, it's to take away their toolkit. And right now, for some reason, they have big booba in their toolkit. And I want to take that away.
Over Eve from Stellar Blade. He's never actually played Stellar Blade, by the way. Before you try and chime in about Assassin's Creed, by the way.
You see the grummz news? That's what we're watching right now.
Your parents don't love you. It's a genuinely fun and interesting fact that since leaving Blizzard, Mark Kern has never released a successful game. In 2005, he co-founded a studio called Red 5 with 3 other former Blizzard employees. He played a significant role in that development and was made CEO in 2008. If you know anything about Mark, if you've heard of like a little bit of him before, you will understand that he has allegations of overspending and promotional campaigns for Firefall. You've heard of the Firefall bus? That was made by West Coast Customs. You know what West Coast Customs is, you've been online. That shit cost $3 million. He purchased not 1, not 2, but 3 red epic dragons for his Red 5 Studios. This is a video production arm that's completely unnecessary for a video game developer. Okay. And my rough calculation is...
Those are very expensive cameras from what I know.
That including inflation, that is 40 to 50 grand per camera in modern day money. 150 grand on cameras that are not fucking needed.
What the fuck? Why would you do that?
You don't need to shoot 4K footage in 2013 to document your video game. Red 5 employees describe Mark Kern as being prone to extended absences and having erratic, impulsive, and very disruptive leadership styles. Anyway, Firefall...
Yeah, because he never wanted to fucking finish the game. And because old chuds are always massive fail sons, okay? Isn't it incredibly ironic that very, very often the case... isn't it incredibly ironic that people who usually advocate for class consciousness, for a more cosmopolitan world, for workers' rights, for minority rights, etc., are far more often than not have their fucking life in order, and the guys that are screaming at the top of their fucking lungs about how the strong should inherit the world, the weak deserve to be stepped on for they have not accomplished anything, are usually the weak ones getting stepped on. It was always the psychological aspect of the reactionary mind that I found incredibly fascinating. Which here on YugopnikTwitch, which simply referred to as financial cuckoldry, okay? Call them what they are, okay? Chuds and right-wingers in general are financial cuckolds, and their bosses are their findoms that they prefer to serve instead of rising up against.
Was an absolute flop because Mark Kern doesn't actually know how to make games at all. I don't think it's particularly controversial to hold the opinion that World of Warcraft's...
Herder personal responsibility proceeds to not make a single game that he promised he was going to make. And I don't know. I'm guessing this video is going to go in a direction and instead makes porn or something. You got to go take a piss.
Despite this guy and all the time he did spend on his little side projects. Again, I have receipts for this. Anyway, in 2013, Mark was removed as CEO from Red 5 by the board of directors of the company. Let's start the scamming people out of their money counter, shall we? Kern founded the studio MEK Entertainment in 2014. He raised $1 million in seed funding for an Oculus Rift MMO. Guess what happened? You've got 3 attempts. Correct, he ran with the money. The game never existed. You know what did exist is a tax bill from the state of California for over $250,000 for 3 years that he never paid his taxes, and now they have a publicly viewable lien against him for this. This didn't stop him from founding another company called Crixer Labs. He's not the owner on paper though. That's actually a completely different family member, which I will get to. Mark, or whatever little pervert foot soldier of his that's watching this is all publicly accessible information from the Secretary of State in California. This is all part of the Chamber of Commerce. This is all public register that will be kept on file until long after you are dust. Anyway, with Crixer Lab now up and running, he obviously got the itch again, and in 2016, he started crowdfunding a game called Ember, a spiritual successor to Firefall. He can't let that one go. That is his baby. He did an interview with a YouTuber in 2024 claiming about 600K has been raised so far for Ember. Guess where that shit is? It's DOA. There's no meaningful updates for any actual length of time. It's very haphazard. It's very obvious that he's neglecting this for his Twitter rants. It's a Discord purged of dissent and a subreddit full of people disappointed that he's gone down this absurd little culture war path. I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty weeds for hours explaining what an awful game this is. There's other YouTubers that have. It's on the screen, just look at it. Our boy is planning to fundraise more, and he's calling this just a vertical slice, and he wants to do a Kickstarter one day. I've seen more coherent games out of weekend-long game jams. It's not slanderous, libelous, or any other kind of word to say that this man, Mark Edward Kern, head developer of Crixer Labs, is basically scamming people out of their money. It took him months to texture 3 models and give them each 3 frames of attack animation. There is no meaningful work.
I mean, that's my favorite pipeline. You are very bad at your job, so you become a right-wing political advocate in your specific industry pipeline. It's like 90% of right-wing agitators, if we want to call them that, on the internet are failed comedians, failed game developers, failed housewives, failed entrepreneurs, failed business owners, failed artists. I mean, the king of the right wing, Adolf Hitler, is literally a failed son that failed so hard, he went ahead and killed like 25, 30 million people. Okay, that's the there's no getting away from the direct link between being a massive failure in life and adopting right-wing ideology.
Being done on this game outside of reposting old AI-generated art, old commissioned art, and reposting old models that he had made 10 years ago. This man, all he does is log into the Discord, post, "This will be a great year for Ember," log off, start posting on Twitter while he deletes his old website and removes the ability to unsubscribe to long-suffering backers. There are people in there who are afraid that they're going to die before this game comes out, and they are desperate for just a taste of Firefall once again. And all he does is ignore them. You might be wondering if this guy doesn't work on his game and all he does is post. Again, it took him 6 months to texture a fucking model. What does he do? And he had other business ventures, and he had them for a very long time. What I have in my hands is, it's probably the most complete biography of Mark Edward Kern, aka grummz, that you're ever going to get. So Mark isn't 100% into the game dev and culture war life. No, he has other side projects.
The world is doomed by people who could not fathom not being the center of their world, so they doom everyone out of spite. Beautifully put. Back from the last iftar. Good for you, my friend. Welcome. I hope it was lovely.
Objective proof of companies he has registered and deregistered, websites that he has worked on, money that he has taken from people for these other projects under other names, but it all comes back to him.
Thank you, Sasha Darling, for the 5 gifties. I'm really glad. Thank you for the 5 gifties, legend. Now we're 5 gifties away from another 5 from myself.
Again, this is publicly accessible information.
It's very kind of you.
When he found out people were looking for this, he's deleted the LinkedIn, Instagram, DeviantArt, Clips for Sale Twitter account.
We go work out. I'll be back to hang out later. Have fun, comrades. Yeah, see you later. Have fun working out.
Every public-facing piece of information that we can find has now been deleted. While you, Mark Edward Kern, were beating your meat raw over anime children's navels, we were finding out more about you than anyone should. Draw your blade, pervert.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so the video starts at the 13-minute mark. Quick question, Hugo. Is the side activities that grummz secretly likes either something to do with Nazis, children, or maybe both? Usually, if you're this type of guy, it's both. But I'm going in this completely blind, my beautiful Tavarish, so let's see the direction it goes in. Hugo, unrelated question: how is Ramadan celebrated in the Balkans? By Muslim people the same way, like everywhere. You know, it's Ramadan. It's a religious context. So people that practice it probably in a very similar manner all over the world, maybe with certain adjustments for food. Thank you, Groucho Marxist, for the Prime sub. I myself am not a Muslim, so I would prefer not to comment, but I'm guessing that's the case.
Gentlemen, welcome to what I am calling the Goonernomicon. Now, this isn't a magic book full of spells that you can only cast one-handed. This is a documentation of Mark Edward Kern, the first in a series of some of the worst onanists, some of the worst masturbators in the gaming sphere.
Holy shit, the worst masturbators! I didn't think I would hear that fucking word ever. Worst masturbators, blood. Wait.
Mold and manipulate gaming culture to return to a time when they were 12 years old and all they had in life to look forward to is extra cheese sticks and a woman in a bikini. It will become pretty obvious that these men just think with their erections. People forget that hating is an inherently valuable form of critical thinking. I have learned tens of thousands of facts via hating. If you are truly hating, you will take all the time you need to learn everything about the subject you are hating on just to hate better, deeper, efficiently, effectively.
Literally, Marxism has been created by a guy that so deeply hated the system that we created after getting rid of the yoke of feudalism, that he wrote like what amounts to, I believe, over 10,000 pages worth of fucking content in order to debunk it. So if you're haters, don't be haters, for haters are usually players. And the big G player, the big M, was also a hater player. Not a player hater, but a hater player.
This is a law of nature. This is a law of hating. The only thing that stopped this from coming out earlier is no one has been motivated enough to pay a data aggregator $11, and there are multiple data aggregators that have this information just sitting out there in the open. The story here is that grummz is a man who has aggressively pursued his personal interests at great cost to his family and his career. The biggest crime here is that anime babes with huge bazongas are his main interest. Actually, no, that's not the biggest crime. It's tax fraud. We'll get there.
Okay.
All of these points are archived in the description with source links. In 1968, grummz comes into the world. Mark Edward Kern, he is a former video game...
How the fuck does this guy have a fucking Wikipedia page, bruv?
...executive. 1992, he gets his back...
Right-wingers are unethical haters. We are ethical haters. We meticulously research why someone or something is bad before we start hating it. Unless the vibes are fucked. Dude, beautifully put, Barry, as always. Beautifully put. Sometimes we really fuck up because we hyper-focus on vibes, but it's like 1% of the time. There is a particular skill set that develops in the brain of most communists and anarchists that will allow them to guess the direction an entire conversation is going to go in based on like the first 3 sentences the person uses. But nonetheless, we are materialists and we must stay away from this objectively reactionary emotion-based sentiment and always give everybody, you know, a minute of our time and hear them out.
Bachelor's degree in cognitive science from the University of Rochester. He eventually gets his doctorate from...
AOC and Bernie are not commies. They just want for Americans what every other Western country has. Good. I don't know how this is relevant to the conversation, but yes, good morning, Sherlock. It's nice to see you this fine evening. Duh. Okay. Yeah, the fucking water is wet. Okay. Thank you, Nutsack. We better look out. The Gooner Twitter Nazi is going to destroy communism. He's going to come on the communism. No, sir, do not come on the communism. I'm going to come. I'm going to come on the communism. No, sir, do not come.
Boston University School of Law with a specialization in IP. He goes on to found Qualia Games in Boston, developing a top-down 2D shooter called Crixer. This is with Blizzard's backing, and he loves the name Crixer. Crixer is eventually cancelled by Blizzard, they do pull the funding, and Qualia shuts down. There's not enough money to pay the payroll. Blizzard used this as a way to get some talent, and Mark is unfortunately the only one to take them up on that offer. He eventually moves on to a role at Blizzard. He serves as an associate producer for StarCraft, works on StarCraft 64 and Diablo 2 as a producer. He's in the credits. I'm not going to dispute the fact that he worked on these games. This is part of his career. March 27th, 2001, FoxyFighter.com is purchased by Mark Kern. Ignore the country of France. That is where Gandhi SAS is located. They're a French company. But Mark Kern is the registrant. Now, Mark Kern isn't a unique name, but there's later information that basically proves that this is him. Now, what is FoxyFighter.com?
Okay, finally, something interesting. God fucking damn it. Like, tax evasion, obviously, he's a right-winger. Obviously, he's doing tax evasion. I want gossip. I want to see weird sexual shit that the right-winger is into. And I want to pretend I'm also not into it and then call him out for being into it. Let's fucking go. I also hope like that it's actually some fucked up shit and not just him, I don't know, fucking fapping to anime titties. Which, like, I don't know, 99% of anybody born after 1999 has done. So I don't know what the direction the video is taken, but let's see. I'm putting €5 on it being scat and bestiality. Yeah, bestiality, I don't know. Sexy catfight hentai is going in very bestiality directions.
To put it as simply as possible.
Right-wingers love shit. Were you here for that stream? We unironically looked at the disparity between what kinds of fetishes left-wing people and more right-wing people like. And right-wing people love CP, love somebody to PP on them, love somebody to shit on them, love when women dominate men, etc., etc. Everything one would expect from a right-winger who really hates degeneracy yet is the greatest degenerate to ever live.
FoxyFighter.com is sexy catfight hentai. It is a website run by a persona called Debbie Chan, but Debbie Chan is Mark.
Holy shit.
And that's underselling it. He has, over the course of 20 plus years, collected a variety of live-action catfights, drawn hentai catfights, quite a bit of like run-of-the-mill porn. However,
what are catfights? Well, let me Google this on the side thing with incognito on. Wait, your incognito window. Catfight porn. Porn meaning. Is a term for an altercation between two women, often characterized as involving scratch. Oh, so he, like, two women beat the shit out of each other. That's the porn category. Oh, I thought it was involving animals. Okay. Isn't catfight like women pretending fighting? I mean, I guess it's okay if they're pretending to fight. Women fighting skimpily. Okay, it's when women fight because they scratch as a weapon. Interesting. Thank you, Finesse, for the 5 months. Yo, haven't been here for a while, but still paying to buy you some of that champagne. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. I love pouring champagne all over myself, brother. Thank you to all the subs and all the Oilers. But this is the only place where when you buy me champagne, I buy you champagne back. Every 10 barrels of oil equal 15 only on YugopnikTwitch, and now with an additional discount.
There are multiple stories where his persona, Debbie, violently sexually abuses women. It's been scrubbed at this point. As soon as grummz got a sniff that people were investigating this, he ripped down as much as he could. Unfortunately, we archived most of it. The email addresses that we found share passwords when searching a pwn database, which is a database of dumped passwords and email addresses. We found a Foxy Fighter email sharing the same password as Mark Kern's email. Fascinating, huh? We also found this one. I'm just leaving that out there. Moving on. July 21st, 2001 is the earliest capture of foxyfighters.com. On February 28th,
So he was running a channel where like women beat each other while wearing sexualized clothing. That's what he did in his like free time. This is what he spent some of his money on. Like he was also like producing these, I guess. I have no idea what's going on. This video is strange.
2002, Debbie wins second place in the third Seeking Femme Fights story competition, so he is actively making this stuff. And on March 24th, 2003, we get RussianCatFights.com. This is another site owned by Mark. He confirms it on a Twitter post. March 22nd, 2004, we get an archive of Latina catfights. This is also owned by Mark. June 28, 2004, access to Foxy Fighter goes for about $10 a month. Posts are stories and drawn artwork. November 13, 2004, World of Warcraft releases. This is effectively the pinnacle of Mark's career. He's credited as team lead. He says he works on drafting the TOS and EULA and does licensing with China. He leaves Blizzard shortly afterwards. He says he's going to go and be with some family, so I don't blame him. Like, that was a very hard process, even if he was apparently a bit of a shithead. Look, no one's spoken about him in a good light at Blizzard, really. Like, not in a way that I think a team lead should in this role. Very shortly afterwards, him and a few other Blizzard employees found Red 5 Studios. So he obviously had a couple of friends who wanted to work with him, but he's not really mentioned in a lot of these retrospective books. It's real fascinating. June 15th, 2005, RussianCatFights.com is closed due to changes in US law. And on August 18th, 2005, LatinaCatFights.com is closed to the same changes. So I don't want to point out that this is anything egregiously sinister. This was a change that was required in the porn industry to have verified records of the performers. Before this law, those records were not kept. Blizzard in 2008 had some problems. People were stealing breast milk from the fridge. This is attributed to Mark.
Blizzard producer Stephanie claims breast milk was stolen from work fridge around this time. Mark Kern was not working there at the time. Okay.
People call him the breast milk bandit. He wasn't working there at the time, and he's not the breast milk bandit. It's funny to think he is. Please keep doing it. Like, it's very funny. But we found dozens of breast milk photos on foxyfighter.com, so smoke there's fire, huh, Mark? October 17th, 2008, as forum admin on freecatfights.com, Debbie recommends a Japanese breast milking series to another forum member and reveals that he owned latinacatfights.com. Now, you might notice that this is forum admin with a Batman avatar. This was scrubbed about a day ago. But this is him. April 23rd, 2009, Red 5 lays off 30 people. Reports of a studio purchase emerge. March 10th, 2010, that studio purchase comes through. A company called The Nine announces acquisition of Red 5 Studios, and grummz becomes CEO. May 19th, 2010, grummz buys a Leica S2 and a 70mm lens from OC Camera. Now, I bring this up because we match metadata from some of the live action photos on Foxy Fighter to this exact camera and lens types that we know he owns. September 3rd, 2010, Red 5 announces Firefall at PAX. September 20th, 2011, he goes and advertises foxyfighter.com and freecatfights.com on r/comics, which probably not the best place to do it, but doesn't even get a single piece of engagement. That's kind of sad. Come on, man, you're better posted than this. Even I can admit that, but dog. March 7th, 2011, he asks for models to star in fighting videos, so he's starting to move into the live action space at this point. And March 21st, 2011, model Megan Renee posts, "I adore you, Mark," on his Model Mayhem profile. And that's his Model Mayhem profile, Studio Foxy Fighter. You see that little boxing glove image up the top right next to his profile? That one is an exact match to a camera lens I...
Yo, why am I watching this?
Logged the transaction with the state of California, the gamer. Red 5 paid this charity $50,000. He wired himself 50 grand from his slowly failing game studio, which I'm guessing is all that was left in the couch cushions at this point. Never logged the transaction with the state of California. This should be logged. It's not in the logs where we're checking. We can see other logs, but it's not there. He then waits for California to dissolve the non-profit, then started a for-profit Delaware Corp with the same name. That's bad. Why was this allowed? Is this all above board tax-wise? I'm sure the California AG would love to know about this and the rest of your tax dodges. June 6, 2012, grummz offers his opinion on the Leica S2 and Nikon D3S, mentions using them for the last 2 years. This is, again, just here as an aside, he used these cameras and 100% owned them. They are a match for Foxy Fighter's content in the unscrubbed metadata. July 4, 2013, you remember the Firefall bus? Well, that's shown at Anime Expo LA. July 9, 2013, Firefall finally enters open beta. They are rapidly running out of money though, that's going to become obvious. December 19th, 2013, he gets removed as CEO. They vote him out. July 29th, 2014, Firefall finally released.
Him being a pornographer is like the least surprising thing, yeah, honestly. You know that Elon Musk's sister is a pornographer? I don't know, just putting that out there with no fucking context. Like, Elon Musk's sister is basically a pornographer as well. Very, very crazy shit, yeah. Like softcore porn, very, very softcore porn. Some might not even call it porn, but I'm calling it porn. I'm putting it out there. Elon Musk's sister is a softcore pornographer.
September 22nd, 2014. Mark is, after his...
He runs Passion Flicks, exactly.
Next venture, he has made MEK Entertainment, Mark Edward Kern Entertainment. It is in Aliso Viejo, which is where everything that he does.
Like Skinamax, but much worse, bro. It's Marcy, like Skinamax, but somehow much worse. Much more cringe. Much far cringer.
Is based. They are an indie game company looking to leverage the blockchain, maybe, 10 years too early for that hype, but I respect the forward-facing vision. MEKentertainment.com launches at this point. They are registered to MEK Entertainment Inc. However, looking at those business entries, it looks like he never actually registered it as a company called MEK Entertainment. The game from the seed funding never really materializes. He gets ousted from MEK Entertainment and they go on to make a game called Voxelnauts, but Mark never really does anything with his money, and we'll get to some allegations about that money later on. June 17th, 2015, grummz announces that he's joining Gamergate. He's mad.
He's joining Gamergate. Well, early on, I can respect the grind. He saw the future.
He's always mad. He's mad and he's horny. July 7th, 2015, DB-Chan LLC is registered. Mark Kern's mother is the registered CEO. And imagine having your mother being the CEO of your porn company.
Okay, now the video is getting good, bruv. Wait, I have to do a thing. Okay, wait one.
LLC is registered. Mark Kern's mother is the registered CEO. And imagine having your mother being the CEO of your porn company. Come on, man. Have some pride. August 8th, 2015, MEK Entertainment changes to Retro Ronin Inc., which is a site about Voxelnauts. No Mark. Mark is no longer working for Retro Ronin. And on September 14th, 2015, Crixer Labs LLC is registered. This is the same address as DB-Chan LLC. Interesting. My question here is why? It seems legally sketchy to register two LLCs under your 80-year-old mum's name. My working theory is that this is a tax shelter and it allows him to report that he earns 0 or less than the personal income required to be taxable by law, and then he can report any additional earnings to his LLCs. He can then write taxes down by saying his revenue did not exceed his annual expenses. He can say his business spent more than they earned, not pay a dime on the money. This is classic tax fraud. Again, California AG would love to have this information. October 19th, 2015, Debbie flips...
This video might actually unironically ruin his life when it comes to tax fraud. Like, they might actually not get him in jail, but bankrupt him completely.
The idea of creating an online catfight game, likely thing for Mark to do. November 2nd, 2015, the Patreon for Foxy Fighters is launched. It maxes out at $57 a month, and it's eventually...
Hey, Mark, come around, run my smut site, brother. Mom, I don't have enough time to run my porn site. I need to fight kids on the internet about wokeification of games. Can you please send the salaries to the porn stars and the camera operators, please?
Paused in 2020. November 16th, 2015, Cameroon Wildebeest is a prolific artist working in the catfight scene. They passed away. His hard drive is too damaged to recover, and a terabyte of catfight art is lost forever. November 20th, 2015, Mark's wife disappears from social media as far as we can tell at this point. Until then, she'd been quite a big cheerleader for him in the online space. So, just kind of putting it in here as a marker, really. December 9th, 2015, he leaves Gamergate after being kind of too transphobic, and he does drop a couple of F-slurs, so good job. No, sorry, he doesn't drop the F-slurs. People on Kotaku and Action do, but they're mad that look, these people are all sad and need jobs. December 17th, 2015, Mark does interview to promote his free speech organization. He's still trying to keep League of Gamers going at this point, and Voxelnort's Twitter comes out and alleges that Mark stole money from Voxelnort. So that's where that money went from that seed funding. Jan 16th, 2016 on freecatfights.com, they've been filming fights with a Red Dragon camera. Now that's interesting.
Okay, so he was bad, he was into weird porn, and he laundered money. This is so not worth my or your time, respectfully. Jesus Christ.
Speech organization.
Whatever. Yeah, I'm over it. This man is too irrelevant to cover, honestly. You know what is more irrelevant, though, but we will cover it? The fucking Eurovision. Also, why the fuck is Israel in the Eurovision? Okay, I thought gay people did not like bigoted people. So why are gay people, which we all know, not only run the world but specifically run Eurovision? Why are they letting Israel in here? And gay people in chat, why am I catching strays? Well, call up your global lobbying group that secretly runs the world. Who runs the world? Gays. And tell them to please not allow Israel into this competition anymore. Can we please? We don't claim Eurovision anymore. So let's see.
Eurovision is so important to Israel and their public image across the world that last year their president got involved to make sure they wouldn't be excluded from the competition. That's how important Eurovision is for Israel.
We love killing people, but we are vegan. We love killing people, but we love singing songs on that Eurovision thing. We love killing people, but we love techno music. We are Israel. Da-dum-dum-da-dum-dum. The most cringe fucking state to ever exist. Somehow out-cringed even apartheid South Africa by being culturally massively insignificant. Genocide, but DEI. Ugh.
We want the world to see the pretty young woman sing about Israel's suffering. Palestine has no voice at Eurovision, but Israel does, and this is how they want you to see them. But fear not, for a group of brave and bold contestants last year came together and promised they would stand for peace at the Eurovision Song Contest. Signatories included Ollie Alexander, Bambi Thug, and even the eventual winner, Nemo. But did they manage it?
Cheers, motherfuckers. We need some drinks to get through this. We need some drinks to get through this. We need some drinks to get through this. And the ad placement coming in 4 minutes and 20 seconds. So avoid it, because ads are bad.
Did they actually get any message across to the audience? Well, Portugal's Yolanda painted her nails in keffiyeh patterns, which you can actually almost see if you go frame by frame in HD. After her performance, she called out, "Peace will prevail." Okay, maybe...
Please react to our boy male rights. What gays run the world? That's a joke. I wish I could answer this question without getting banned, so I'll skip. That is a joke. I mean, no, I really think gays run the world. Do you have arguments against me, Male Rights USA, about this very serious, incredibly serious take that I have? This is
Wonderful. A new child soldier. Subscriber.
A take. A hill that I'm willing to die on, that gays run the world. I want you to properly argue how they don't. No, please, seriously, tell me how gays don't run the world. Thank you very much. Tsar Alex, cheers. Thanks for doing what you do, Bratello. No, thank you for supporting me for 12 months. That's fucking legendary, bro.
Maybe not the most effective protest, but a good effort. Bambi Thug, on the other hand, went so far as to write the words freedom for Palestine and ceasefire in an ancient medieval Irish alphabet that can only be read backwards, knowing that anyone out there who could read ancient medieval Irish would absolutely get the message. Except, unfortunately, they were told to change the text to keep the contest apolitical, and Bambi Thug obeyed. So the medieval Irish speakers in the audience didn't get the message.
Europeans, bruv.
But the audience did get another message. At the end of their song, they said, which, okay, isn't a super clear message about Palestine, but a few people might have known what that referred to, so thank you, Bambi. The UK's Ollie Alexander, in a BBC documentary about his Eurovision journey, was brought to tears over the cruelty of being asked to stand against genocide. Sure, the documentary may make peace activists seem like the villains of Ollie's journey, but that doesn't mean Ollie wasn't going to do the right thing on the Eurovision stage. In fact, at the contest, he said, "Thank you, Europe and Australia!" Nothing. Nothing at all. He did and said nothing. Even when he had lost the contest horribly and had nothing left to lose, he said nothing. Luckily, one of the contestants who signed the peace letter actually won the contest. Switzerland's Nemo was the first non-binary person to win Eurovision, showing that this competition really is all about representing minorities and bringing people together. So more than any other contestant, Nemo really had a chance to spread the message of peace. When presented the award, they said,
"I hope this contest can live up to its promise and continue to stand for peace."
Wait, that's it?
I'm Hitler's top guy.
Yeah, that's really it. No one, no matter how anti-genocide they claim to be, managed to say a single word about Palestine, all the while selling themselves as the good guys of Eurovision 2024. And
Welcome to liberalism. Oh, somebody clip that. Somebody clip that. Somebody fucking clip that and make it into a GIF, bro. Somebody clip that. Somebody clip that and send me the fucking clip.
You know what? Okay. In a way, it makes sense. Eurovision had banned any reference to the genocide. You weren't even allowed to bring in Palestinian flags. In fact, you weren't even allowed to bring in non-binary flags. As it turned out, Nemo had to sneak in their non-binary flag to show it in the green room right before winning. But, hold on. If you were able to sneak in a flag, Nemo, my fellow human, why didn't you sneak in a Palestinian flag like Iceland did in 2019? It's almost as if all of these people had decided to put their careers first and ignore the fact that this contest was an instrument of genocidal propaganda. I mean, this is pathetic. This is humiliating.
It's extra funny when they decided to put it first and then didn't even end up in the fucking top 20.
Did anyone really think these people were going to do the right thing on the Eurovision stage? Of course they weren't. Bambi Thug had barely any followers before Eurovision. They built their entire career on a brand of helping Palestinians at Eurovision while not actually saying anything on stage and totally ignoring the one request Palestinians had for them.
What? The fuck? Okay, so at first I thought it was just because, we're going to the Eurovision and Israel is going to be performing, so we might as well use our platform to speak up now. But, it doesn't work out, so they don't speak up. But you're trying to tell me that they built up their online presence and popularity because they were like, oh, if you pick us to go to Eurovision, we're going to speak up for Palestine. And then they just didn't. No.
Eurovision stage, of course they weren't. Bambi Thug had barely any followers before Eurovision. They built their entire career on a brand of helping Palestinians at Eurovision while not actually saying anything.
Okay, let's do some research. Bambi the Thug. Dum-dum-dum-dum-dum. 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 I'ma do some research. Bambi the Thug. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Open the page. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Okay, now scrolling. Oh, fuck. Can I scroll more? Don't make me log in. Fuck off, I'm not logging in. Scroll. We're gonna do a lot of scrolling here. If it lets me scroll. Basically, I wanna contrast whether they were posting pro-Palestine stuff before they performed on Eurovision or after, but it's not gonna scroll. It doesn't want to scroll.
Wonderful.
It doesn't want to scroll. It doesn't want to scroll.
Subscriber.
Cannot do research. Denied. Denied. Thank you very much, El Turco. Hey, I got 5 months from a Turk. Psh, psh. Maybe the Balkans can unite after all. Maybe the Thug Palestine. Bambi Tgetug. Wait, did she lose 200k followers? Look at the video and look back at the... Did she lose 200k followers? Wait. Okay, so right now, Bambi the not very thug. Okay. Come on, open. Jebem ti mater, brate, open. 232k.
Of course they weren't. Bambi Thug had barely any followers before you.
417k, but this is on TikTok. No, the difference is it's on TikTok. Oh, maybe we can do TikTok and do that same sort of epic style research. Bambi the Thug. Let's see, chat. Let's see. Come on. Bambi the Thug. Okay, Bambi the Thug. Okay, so when was Eurovision 2024? Eurovision 2024 was on May 7th to May 11th. So May of last year. May of last year. Let's go back. This is the 10th month. We're looking for the January, February, March, April, May. We're looking for the 5th month.
I think my least favorite thing about.
So this is the 4th month. This is a month before. Eurovision, right? A month before Eurovision. So let's see if there's any Palestine posting. This is 4 months before Eurovision. Okay. No.
What's it?
No. Oh my God. Wait. No. Oh, okay. Free human rights, children, heal the world, and there we go. Okay. Look at me. I support Palestine. Very chill, but I'm not very popular. And then, boom. Let's see how the numbers go like crazy. Okay. Numbers go crazy at this point. Bambi Thug. She's going to be performing. Bambi Thug. Numbers going crazy. Numbers going up. Probably this is when she won her nomination, up or down. Doomsday Blue Shot. Okay, I'm going to be performing. This is already there, right? This is in Amsterdam. Okay. No. Palestine stuff. I don't know if it was scrubbed or not. So yeah, it's no longer there. So I'm not sure. Context, the song is called Doomsday Blue. Wait, maybe her holding the watermelon was her showing support? Yeah, that was the point, bro. I mean, in the emotes, I don't know if you saw a video where her holding a watermelon. Incredible support indeed.
Eurovision. They built their entire career on a brand of helping Palestinians at Eurovision while not actually saying anything on stage on a brand of helping Palestinians.
Welcome ceasefire hoodie now. Oh my God. Okay, at least it went to UNICEF. Okay. Proceeds from the okay.
Palestinians at Eurovision while not actually saying anything on stage and totally ignoring the one request Palestinians had for them: to drop out and boycott. There was never any chance that these contestants would be able to say anything about Palestine because Eurovision as an institution is so far up Israel's backside, they have two sets of rules, one for Israel and one for everyone else. Eurovision is rigged for Israel. And here are some fun examples to prove it. Number 1. Last year, the reason Israel's president got involved was because Israel was submitting a propaganda song about October 7th, explicitly breaking the rules to not politicize or instrumentalize the contest. When other countries had tried to submit political songs, such as Belarus in 2021, they had only one chance to fix it before being booted out. Israel, on the other hand, not only got multiple chances, they didn't even really change the lyrics much in the end, and it's still clear what the song is about. Not to mention how obvious it is that when your president gets involved, that this has probably become political. But Eurovision didn't care about that, and Israel got special treatment and was allowed to participate. Number 2, Russia was kicked out of the contest in 2022, with the Eurovision organisers, the EBU, explicitly stating that they were given the boot due to the unprecedented crisis in Ukraine, which meant that having Russia in the contest...
Okay, fair. Now apply that somewhere else. I don't know where.
...would bring the contest into disrepute. People don't like war criminals in their music competition. But not only was Israel not subject to the same treatment, but Eurovision went out of its way to lie and rewrite history to defend Israel, stating that actually they didn't kick Russia out because of Ukraine. They kicked them out based on a technicality. So actually...
In the case of Russia, the Russian broadcasters themselves were suspended from the EBU due to their persistent breach of membership obligations and the violation of public service values. Yes, and I am a helicopter paracopter.
In fact, there's nothing they can do about Israel. They had no choice but to uplift Israel's propaganda song under pressure from the Israeli government. Whoopsie daisy. Unfortunately for them, they forgot to delete the original statement from the Eurovision website, so we can still see that this is fucking bullshit. Number 3. When Israel hosted Eurovision in 2019, they broadcast illegally occupied Palestinian and Syrian territories, pretending that they belong to Israel. Occupying these territories is a crime under international law, and Eurovision just allowed them to whitewash that crime to 180 million viewers across the globe. Great job, Eurovision.
Jesus Christ.
So much for being apolitical. Number 4.
Jesus Christ.
Last year, Jost Klein was disqualified in the middle of the contest for apparently making an inappropriate gesture at a camera person when he was being filmed without his consent. So, the Netherlands was just gone from Eurovision 2024. Okay, so that's that. However, the Israeli team was apparently constantly harassing people, filming them even without their consent behind the scenes, and the Israeli commentators were calling contestants things like Hamas supporters and sons of Amalek. And yet, they were not disqualified. The Norwegian band even had to ask for extra security because of the Israeli broadcaster, and Bambi Thug says the EBU told them privately that Israeli commentators did break the rules. But that's okay. Israel still went through to the final. Number 5. The EBU has previously banned broadcasters who failed to uphold media freedom, such as the Belarus BTRC. The EBU says journalists should be impartial and independent.
But if you're mass murdering journalists more than in any war in recorded fucking history, it's okay. Please come sing your little song.
And yet Khan, the Israeli broadcaster, is nothing but a mouthpiece for the Israeli military. They broadcast a genocidal song.
They are killing journalists, bro.
Song about how Israel will annihilate everyone in Gaza, and Khan's presenters have signed missiles headed into Gaza. They were spreading lies about hospitals, kindergartens, schools, and mosques in Gaza being Hamas headquarters. And every time Israel kills civilians, Khan reports that in fact Israel has killed terrorists. But the EBU has somehow decided this type of reporting is impartial and independent, so Israel can stay while Belarus is banned. Number 6. During Israel's performance last year, audience boos were apparently edited out and replaced by fake cheers.
Yeah, that was crazy. I remember that. That was absolutely wild. That was absolutely wild.
So despite audiences' explicit disapproval of Israel's participation, literally due to crimes against humanity, due to genocide, the record of that day has been altered. History rewritten in real time to convince the world that Europe approves of Israel's participation. Even the audience...
And they have pre-prepared. Most of this ran live, bro. So they had pre-prepared audio to interject during the probably 15-second delay of the live stream in order for it to appear like the audience is fucking with Israel.
Who paid to be there thinking they could protest in person by booing became complicit in this propaganda against their will. Number 7. But you would also think Europe loved Israel last year because they came second place in the televote. Wow. Except that this was also dodgy. The State of Israel's official social media accounts, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, posted content asking people around the world to vote for the song up to 20 times to try and win them the public vote. It was a massive campaign with Israeli embassies all over the world showing voting instructions and the government paying for...
Dude, imagine lobbying for a fucking song contest, I apologize.
Targeted ads.
Like, as they were lobbying to win a song contest, they were lobbing missiles at hospitals and schools. If that's not psychotic behavior, then I don't know.
The Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs publicly admitted to astroturfing the vote. The goal was to get people who would otherwise never even watch Eurovision to vote for Israel in a coordinated campaign. And the charts confirm that's what happened. The Israeli song wasn't charting anywhere, even in the countries which gave them 12 points, and where people were listening to other Eurovision songs. But afterwards, the Israeli media used this manufactured televote to prove that actually everyone supports Israel. The silent majority is in favour of their genocidal violence, actually. And with Eurovision literally editing the boos out, they played into that narrative. Number 8. If you're still wondering why none of the contestants were able to make any substantial gestures of solidarity with Palestinians last year, it's because they were being patted down airport style before going on stage to make sure they wouldn't bring on any Palestinian symbols. The contestants were basically locked in the green room to prevent any political props coming in. And all of this just to protect Israel. The whole contest was rigged to make sure no one could criticize Israel's participation, no one could even mention Palestinians, and the world would, for the most part, believe that Israel is fully loved and accepted at Eurovision and across Europe. Israeli journalists and politicians have both admitted that Eurovision is not just a music competition for Israel, it's a political advocacy tool. Netanyahu himself called the last Israeli Eurovision victory exceptional foreign relations work. Their government has no reservations in taking full advantage, sending political songs, the president meddling in the competition, the government paying to astroturf the televote, breaking every rule, and Eurovision just lets them. While Eurovision aired last year, Israel was bombing and slaughtering Palestinian civilians. But what was on the front page of BBC News the next morning? Not the protests, not the bombings, but Nemo won Eurovision. The competition has been turned into a propaganda program for Israel, creating an image that Israel is just like all of these other countries and not a settler colony on trial for genocide whose prime minister is wanted for crimes against humanity. Eurovision would have you believe that Europe loves Israel, when in reality, their public image has never been worse. There have been huge petitions and protests calling it the genocide song contest, complaints from participating broadcasters, major headlines calling last year's Eurovision controversial and more political than ever before. This is disrepute, and bringing the competition into disrepute is against Eurovision's rules. But they don't care about their own rules, not when it comes to Israel. And that should be clear to anyone participating. You can't be a voice for Palestine in Eurovision because Eurovision is pro-Israel. If you participate in Eurovision because you
I'm Hitler's top guy. What am I gonna do? Adolf Hitler chose me to lead the revolution.
If Alexander the Great tells you you're his top guy, you're his top guy. You're now in a position where you have no choice but to go,
Oh, I'm Alexander the Great's top guy, dude. Oh, Adolf Hitler needs me? Okay, I'll do it.
I'm going to bat for you, Hitler. I got your back, Hitler. Okay? That's my point.
Eurovision is pro-Israel.
No, that's my point.
If you participate in Eurovision, you become a tool of Israeli propaganda. Period. And even the influencers are corrupted by Eurovision's rules so they can get their press passes. WeeWeeBlogs, the biggest Eurovision influencer, reports on the genocide only as if they're spilling the tea, and otherwise just treats Israel like any other contestant.
Oh, I really like this. This is so beautiful. This is so tastefully done.
Influencers all know that they have to tone down their criticisms of Israel if they want that precious access, and thereby also become complicit in this. We've also seen a lot of the fandom theorizing that because the Eurovision sponsor Moroccan Oil is Israeli, they dictate whether or not Israel stays in the competition, and therefore there's no point in boycotting while Moroccan Oil is still a sponsor. And while no reputable sources support this theory, even if you do believe that one of the biggest TV shows in the world is at the mercy of one shampoo company, this is just all the more reason to boycott the show.
And also, you don't know how actual funding of things works, bro. Like, okay, Moroccan Oil, the individual company, might be given money to Eurovision to quote unquote present their product to the viewers and listeners of Eurovision. But come on, are you fucking stupid? Moroccan Oil is only utilized as an LLC through which to funnel Israeli state money. I mean, that's what state organized groups like fucking USAID can do, but that's also what fucking companies like Coca-Cola did throughout the fucking Cold War. This is not just money being money that is made by Moroccan Oil that is being given to Eurovision. It's just being used as a front for Israeli money to be funneled inside. Thank you, Comrade Richard! Thank you very much. One of the fucking OGs, Comrade Richard. Thank you very much.
Not an excuse to stop caring. Palestinians are very clear about Eurovision. If you want to help them, you have to boycott. Viewers shouldn't watch, participants should drop out, and fans and influencers should stop creating free promo. Cultural boycott is a well-established tool for resisting violence. When Palestinians are asking us to boycott Eurovision, they're asking us based on strategies that helped defeat apartheid in South Africa. You know what's weird? There's no rule against genociders participating in Eurovision. And that has to change. We are talking about real human lives here. People dying, children dying, mass slaughter, and Eurovision trying to convince Europe that actually we'll support it. This is normal. This is fine. But in years to come, when you look back on...
Yeah, the way we look back and we're like, how the fuck did the Olympics actually go to Berlin before World War II while the Nazis were in power? Like, weren't they seeing what's going on, etc., etc.? Obviously, Eurovision is not even 0.1% as important as the Olympics, but that's how it happens. You close your eyes because you want viewership, because you want revenue, because you want an image of normalcy to continue. Not even necessarily as a manner of... Not even necessarily as a way through which you will propagandize everybody into thinking that everything is going according to plan and everything is very chill, etc., but because you yourself, in spite of seeing with your very own eyes that everything is going down the fucking hill crazy style, don't want to believe it. You genuinely, truly, like the execs, the managers, even the workers in Eurovision, they don't want to, and the Olympics back then, the organizers and so on, they don't want to interrupt their comfort of doing their little sports thing or doing their little song contest thing while so many are suffering in this place or that place or the other. It's just closing your eyes because it's going to cause you some slight discomfort. And that is the problem with the labor aristocracy in general, unfortunately. They are siphoned away from understanding the pain of living in the developing world, living under the boot of imperial physical and economic dominance, by just being given treats that make them nice and comfortable and forget about using their own eyes and ears. Would make a motherfucker cry. But I don't cry! I say thank you, Sejong Simp, for the 10 community subs. I dedicate myself to the grind and say, motherfucker, here's another 5 from me, myself, and I, baby. Here's another 5. Thank you, Sejong Simp, and here's a cheers from me, myself, and I. Be like Sejong Simp, and for every 10 gift subs, another 5 coming from me. Now at 35% discount. Today is the last day where you can literally get gift subs at basically 70% discount over here. This shit is free. Make somebody else's day nice. Make them into a beautiful child soldier of YugopnikTwitch and save them from the plague, which is advertising, inadvertently allowing them to avoid the ad that is coming in 4 minutes and 45 motherfucking seconds.
In these times, what do you want to remember about your choices when the world was on fire? Did you stoke the flames? Or did you at least try? to extinguish them.
Oh, I can't wait for them to say that they didn't know, that they were just confused, that they didn't know. But I didn't know. But my friend, compared to previous instances of
A new child soldier, subscriber.
crimes of this scale in our history, today you will have less excuses. Because all of this has been recorded in 4K and fucking live streamed on every single social media platform that you use. No more excuses. We said it here a million times and I'll repeat it a million fucking times. At this point, 1.5 years into the Gaza genocide, there are no excuses of ignorance that can be used in order to excuse away one's silence on this particular topic. And if you have acquaintances or even loved ones or friends or even people that you listen to as content creators, newscasters, artists, and so on, that have been silent on this, tell them to respectfully go fuck themselves and stay away from them because they are absolute pieces of fucking shit. With all due respect. I know, oh, don't politicize everything, don't do, because context, because material conditions, blah, blah, blah. Well, all the material conditions are here for absolutely everyone on planet Earth to know what is happening in Gaza. And if you still don't pour your fucking heart out for the suffering of the Palestinian cause, you are as close to an objectively bad person as I can fucking imagine. And you should not let these people in your fucking lives. But there are people who are the opposite. Like, I know this steak doesn't exist. That's a great fucking name. Thank you for the 10, baby. Thank you for the 10, and here's another 5 thanks to you. Be like this steak that doesn't exist. And oil me up, baby, and I will oil you right back up. Thank you very much, steak.
Wonderful.
Thank you very
A
much.
new child soldier, subscriber.
Male Rights USA. I should tell them what my political ideology is. I believe that the gays run the world, and that
I'm Hitler's top guy.
Don't you know? Like, you're among friends, bro. You're among friends. We're all chuds here. We're all like proud right wingers, right, chat? We're all fellow.
I'm Hitler's top guy.
Right. So this lovely male rights activist should feel like at home here in chat, right? Right, chat? Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah, brother. Brother, I own like 7 fucking pickup trucks, brother. I have been divorced 7 times, brother. This is the European version of Bud Light that I'm drinking right here, brother. It's the closest to fucking piss water that I could find on this fucking homosexual sissy continent, brother. Okay, you are amongst friends, brother, but we are smart, brother, okay? We understand that Twitch is a disgusting place that only platforms those fucking dirty communists. So we use their rhetoric against them. We use it to confuse the dirty, evil communist so that he enters this chat, and then we make him feel true red-blooded American patriotism. Am I American? No, I am not. Do I want to be? Of course, but not like a dirty immigrant, brother. But just like from the side, by being like America good means every other place in the world good. So welcome. Welcome, brother. Welcome. We are truly infiltrating the wokies here, brothers. Thank you very much, Red Edge Planet, for the 5 community subs. From one trud to another, every single sub that comes in from this moment on is showing that they support red-blooded working Americans. They want to put a stop to this globalization, homosexualization that is being impregnated into the minds and eyes of our beautiful white children. We shall take back the land. We shall sow blood until all is pure and white once again, brothers. Indeed, indeed. Thank you, most Luciferian chatter. There you go. Even the Luciferians are slowly embracing the true calling of the void. The burger, the beer, the truck, the eagle. Oh! Okay, I can't do it anymore, bro. Oh my god. I apologize for the behavior of my patient. Now, I assume that that's their MO normally, but also thirsting after Hugo is super straight. Of course it is. Brother. I am literally the right-wing Martin Luther King. I have a dream that people will exclusively judge other people based on what they look like. I have a dream that people will judge other people exclusively on the type of car they drive, and the closer looking to a Ford F-150 a particular car is, the cooler those guys are, brother.
We got a lot of work to do. Americans are being squeezed out of the labor force and their jobs are taken. But all over the world, they're coming.
But relevant to the topic, the liberalism to fascism pipeline. Let's explore it. It's one of my favorite topics, especially because I wanna reverse it.
Coming into our country from Africa, from Asia. And you know who's being hurt the most by millions of people pouring into our country? The black population and the Hispanic population. The crime is going to be tremendous. The unions are suffering because of it. They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done.
You would think that at a time when economic stratification and marginalization are running rampant, a time where the rich grow richer at the expense of everyone else, politicians would tailor their rhetoric to tackle the real issues at hand and not just stir division amongst races, genders, creeds, and religions. But no. Why do...
No, I don't, because I'm not stupid. This is exactly what why they're giving the jobs that they're given.
Figures like Donald Trump point the finger at immigrants as though they are the reason for economic instability and not oligarchs. Will he ever mention the fact that in 2022 alone, undocumented migrants paid nearly $100 billion in tax revenue while being shut out of the very programs they helped fund? Why is the blame for a failing economic model rarely placed on the model itself, but instead transferred to groups who are already having a hard enough time? Why does this economic instability lead to divisive in-group, out-group rhetoric and not toward a productive discussion about the innate instability of the economic model we live under? I hope I can answer that question by the end of this video.
Because it's lies. There you go. We don't have to watch the video anymore.
But first, we have to go back in time just a bit. In the aftermath of the Second World War, Western governments and economists alike were scratching their heads trying to come up with economic reforms that would prevent a calamity like the war they just endured from ever occurring again. The Great Depression still lingered in the mind.
But also they were trying to find a model that would ensure in a less violent way than that utilized by fascists to find a model less violent than the one utilized by fascists as to make sure that class-conscious revolutions do not overturn the entire system by placating the masses not with a stick but with particular concessions that would elongate the existence of the current model.
Minds of many, with unregulated capitalism widely seen as its cause and an unstable economic model. Western governments didn't want to scrap capitalism altogether, but they believed that by guaranteeing their populations basic dignities and social safety nets, it would prevent them from entertaining alternative economic and political ideas.
Exactly, okay. You saved yourself, Jesus.
Keep in mind, it was the disillusionment and suffering of the German citizenry post-World War I that allowed for Hitler's rhetoric and ideas to flourish. By preventing that level of economic instability from occurring again, Western governments believed that they could prevent fascism from gaining traction in the future. They also wished to prevent socialist or communist sentiment from strengthening. It's important to note that post-World War II, the socialist bloc was guaranteed
vibe check passed.
Employment, healthcare, and housing to its citizens. If the capitalist West didn't try to appease its populations in a similar way, it feared that revolutionary leftist movements would flourish, and in the eyes of many liberals, fascism and socialism are totally the same level of evil.
That's beautifully put, but no, socialism is far worse, okay? Because in their eyes, like fascism is an organic process in which we can fall into, but we can avoid through this or that attempt at policy. While Marxism is the big evil because it wants to actively overturn all which we find normal, and it wants to sometimes even use violent means to get to. It's icky. It's icky. Because if we do socialism and we do revolution and it doesn't work and hurts people, it's icky. But if we sit here and we LARP that, here there, we're trying to stop the fascismus, and the fascismus happens, and we can be like, oh my God, what the fuck? This caught me by surprise, bro. Obviously, a massive oversimplification. We talked about this like 1,000 times here on fucking chat. Like, you know how this works, but still.
1 for 1. And that brings us to this dude, John Maynard Keynes. Keynes was an economist who stressed the demand side. To put it very simply, he believed that when people have more money to spend, especially workers who make up most consumers, it drives demand, keeps businesses running, and helps the economy stay healthy. And when that doesn't happen naturally, he argued, the government should step in to boost spending and keep things moving. Think of it as a kinder form of capitalism that Keynes was advocating for.
Was it a kinder form of capitalism, or was it a smarter form of capitalism is a debate that's been fucking waged since Keynesianism has been created. In my opinion, it's a smarter form of capitalism, not through the prism of ethics or morality or life standards, etc., etc. It is simply smarter because it understands that the masses will literally enter your fucking home. I'm talking to billionaires right now. Take a rope and unless you give them some fucking scraps. Okay? So let's give them some scraps so they don't. Because otherwise, if you get too fucking cocky, they will all realize what is happening and they will. And then. Okay, hence why smarter form of capitalism.
One designed to prevent catastrophes like the Great Depression and keep the economic.
Which, funnily enough, that is the greatest strength of the socialist cause. Not only the contradictions increase over time when it comes to the material relations between classes, aka wealth accumulation, falling rate of profit, and no matter how much you don't want to see the contradictions, eventually you have to see them, so you gain class consciousness. The economic system that goes from crisis to crisis eventually reaches a crisis that is so cataclysmic that revolts start, and hopefully there is enough class consciousness that has been developed and enough organizing that has been done that revolt can be not co-opted but led by class conscious forces, and then you overturn it for a better alternative, a different system, etc., one that drives human civilization towards the end goal of eventual destruction of class and destruction of hierarchy as we know it today, right?
Economically downtrodden from revolting against their governments. After the Second World War, capitalism that Keynes was advocating for. One designed to prevent catastrophes like the Great Depression and keep the economically downtrodden from revolting against their governments. After the Second World War, in the 40s and 50s, Keynesian economics began to rise to prominence. Western governments embraced Keynes's ideas and enacted policies that built the foundation for what we now call social democracies. They were done with unfettered capitalism and knew that a mixed social democratic type model was the way to not only keep their populations happier, but keep both fascism and socialism at bay. Because again, those two things are totally morally equivalent. 1 for 1. Now, I have my issues with social democracy. We'll get into that later in this video, but one thing that's for certain is that the social democratic model was an improvement to the unregulated capitalist hellscape that preceded it. As the Western world continued to embrace Keynesian economics and shift toward social democracies, there was a very notable...
No, some of your chatters are beautiful, but you don't seem to get it. Contradictions of the system that lead to revolt are one thing, but contradictions inside of the capitalist class are another thing. Through continuous accumulation, the profit motive pushes you to eternal need for growth. And at one point, you've privatized absolutely everything that can be privatized. And the only way for you to grow is to start eating up the structures you've put in place, like social democracy, like the welfare state, like basic fucking infrastructure programs, even, etc., etc. Because you need to grow, you need to eat those too. But you're put in a position like those exist so they don't realize what we're doing to them. Us as capitalists, what we're doing to the rest. We have put these social democratic programs in so they don't realize what we are doing, right? It's a fucking concession. But because you're growing and eventually you reach walls through which you have to grow, so you have to break down those walls, you eventually, that's the contradiction, you start destroying the very welfare systems you've put in place so they don't realize what you're doing, which leads to what? To them realizing what you're doing and then causing revolt.
Man who was just...
That's why it doesn't work. It's a short-term fix, even for the capitalists. I'm not talking like it's a short-term fix for us working people. Social democracy. At least I get something, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fucking liberal moralism. We can have a back and forth here for 7 fucking years. It's boring. It's boring. A more interesting conversation is that in the long term, even the smartest capitalist understands that it's a short-term fix. That's why the smartest capitalist in the short term invests in social democracy, but in the long term plans organically, not like a cabal, even though those probably fucking exist. Not like a Jewish fucking cabal, fuck you, that's not what I meant, but like, smart, forward thinking members of the highest echelons of the 0.01%. They know that eventually this social democracy game is going to run out of steam. And that they will have to privatize even the small breadcrumbs that they've given you. They will have to eat those breadcrumbs eventually because there's not going to be any more fucking bread to own. So that's why in the long term, they invest in the stick. They know that social democracy will eventually, quote unquote, crumble, and its more violent form will have to come to fruition. And they just want to be on the right side when it does. And that's the stick. That's fascism. Eid Mubarak, my friend.
Not fucking with it. This guy, Friedrich Hayek. Hayek was an Austrian economist who believed that an overemphasis on collectivism would fast-track a society.
Yeah, okay, I hear you, Hugo, but I'd like to hear male rights, what male rights has to say. Maybe he gets it better than you. I don't know, is male rights even here anymore? My brother, my brother. We have a pet, apparently. Now, if you know this guy, he's a Canadian libertarian type. We fuck with anarchists here. We don't have to agree on fucking everything. This is not the type of community I'm trying to foster.
To totalitarianism. He believed that social democracy and expansive welfare states would erode the individual and eventually morph into authoritarianism. In 1944, Hayek published a book called Believed that social democracy and expansive welfare states would erode the individual and eventually morph into authoritarianism. Hayek, notable man who was just... As the Western world continued to embrace Keynesian economics and shift toward social democracies, there was a very notable man who was just not fucking with it. This guy, Friedrich Hayek. Hayek was an Austrian economist who believed that an overemphasis on collectivism would fast-track a society to totalitarianism. He believed that social democracy and expansive welfare states would erode the individual and eventually morph into authoritarianism. In 1944, Hayek published a book called The Road to Serfdom, in which he made his argument, and it did not take long before this book of his was picked up by business communities and wealthy, powerful people who saw his ideas as a way to champion a reversal of the Keynesian era. While Keynesian economics improved financial stability for the average person, the ultra-rich resented it because it limited their ability to maximize profits. The business communities and the...
There you go. The contradiction of the capitalist class. Their profit-seeking's inability to understand that in the long term, you have to give breadcrumbs in order for profit-seeking to continue in perpetuity. That's it. Literally victims of their own success. Victims of the original incentive greedy model.
The ultra-rich saw in Hayek's ideas a chance to reverse labor protections, taxes, regulations, and usher the world back into an era where unfettered capitalism ruled supreme. An era where they could grow their wealth exponentially without having to worry about who or what they exploited. But convincing the world of an ideology that is objectively dog shit just because...
Same like I tried to convince you that watching ads is fucking shit, and then for every 10 gift subs, you actually get 15. Now at 35% discount, which makes a gift sub in YugopnikTwitch basically 70% discounted. You see how I slid it in there? Very nasty.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
It would be friendly to the rich and powerful wasn't easy. This was going to take a lot of money and resources, so rich, moneyed interests immediately got to work promoting Hayek's book. DeWitt Wallace, the anti-communist editor and founder of Reader's Digest, published a condensed version of Hayek's book in an attempt to make his ideas more digestible for casual readers. 1 million reprints were ordered, many of which were at the requests of companies trying to indoctrinate their workers. Look magazine adapted Hayek's book into a cartoon which was distributed by General Motors to its workers, and Hayek was being booked for well-paying speaking gigs in America so his ideas could be propagated further. In 1947, Hayek went on to found...
Absolute idiots, like unironically idiots. If you give me $1 billion tomorrow and I somehow sell my soul because $1 billion is $1 billion, I would be the largest investor in welfare states, in social democratic policies that you will ever see. And probably like Democratic Party of the United States types would fucking love me. They'd be like, look, a good billionaire. I would have New York Times op-eds. Not all billionaires. Look at this fucking guy. Even though I would be doing it quite literally because I know all of you are fucking stupid as shit. And if I give you 0.0001% of my shit, you won't come after me. Versus the ultra idiots that are like, nah, we're not even giving them 0.01. Now I'm going to do some tax avoidance as well. Ha ha ha. It's just dumb. I'm not talking ethics. It is dumb. If you're a capitalist, you love the welfare state. You fucking adore it. UBI sounds like a great fucking idea to me if I'm a billionaire. Sounds fucking sick as shit.
Found the Mont Pelerin Society, which was an organization where he and other like-minded individuals went on to promote his theories of free market, deregulated capitalism. The ideas propagated by Hayek and his organization have come to be referred to as neoliberalism, and this doctrine of his was financially backed by some of the richest, most powerful interests on Earth. Forces such as the Koch brothers, William Volcker & Co., General Electric, DuPont, and many, many more. They saw in Hayek's neoliberalism a way to liberate themselves from the regulations and responsibilities that Keynesianism imposed on them. Now, neoliberalism as a term in the modern day tends to be used mostly as a pejorative by people critical of the ideology, but it absolutely still is a real and pervasive parasitic force. To define it can be tricky, but here are a few attempts that I think do a good job. Historian David Harvey says, neoliberalism is a theory of political economic practices that proposes that human well-being can best be advanced by liberating individual entrepreneurial freedoms and skills within an institutional framework characterized by strong private property rights, free markets, and free trade. The role of the state is to create and preserve an institutional framework appropriate to such practices. The state has to guarantee, by force if need be, the proper functioning of markets. If markets do not exist in areas such as land, water, education, healthcare, social security, or environmental pollution, then they must be created by state action if necessary. But beyond these tasks, the state should not venture. Deregulation, privatization, and withdrawal of the state from many areas of social provision have been all too common.
This is correct. The definition is very decent. The only thing I would add to the definition that I have not seen is the state's role in protecting the national bourgeoisie, aka the only time when the state, other than the examples that were given, the only time that the state, other than the examples that were given, is allowed to intervene in international and domestic markets is to protect domestic capital from the expansion of foreign capital. AKA, we're going to ban Chinese EVs because we want BMW and Audi and Ford Motors to prosper.
George Monbiot and Peter Hutchison define neoliberalism as an ideology whose central belief is that competition is the defining feature of humankind. It tells us that we are greedy and selfish, but that greed and selfishness light the path to social improvement, generating the wealth that will eventually enrich us all. It casts us as consumers rather than citizens. It seeks to persuade us that our well-being is best realized not through political choice, but through economic choice, specifically buying and selling. It promises us that by buying and selling, we can discover a natural meritocratic hierarchy of winners and losers. The market, it contends, will, if left to its own devices, determine who deserves to succeed and who does not. The talented and hardworking will prevail, whereas the feckless, weak, and incompetent will fail. The wealth the winners generate will trickle down to enrich the rest. Neoliberals argue that an active state seeking to change social outcomes through public spending and social programs rewards failure, fuels dependency, and subsidizes the...
Though neoliberals still prioritize free markets over the national bourgeoisie, like how Thatcher destroyed local British industry in favor of this new model. Well, we see the development of neoliberalism in its current form, which does not seem to prioritize free markets over the national bourgeoisie. Britain is a decent example of it going in the opposite direction, because Britain was no longer empire, no longer source of most capital. While the United States can co-opt neoliberalism and still pitch as if it's not betraying its core ideals, while prioritizing the national bourgeoisie because it holds most military resource and, in the case of this system, capital power. So yeah, it flows. It flows. Other countries, smaller countries that consider themselves neoliberal and follow the model, sometimes have to betray the interests of the national bourgeoisie in the name of other ones, because they literally just cannot outcompete them. Quite literally, they could not outcompete them even with these policies put in place, TLDR, protectionism, and so on. Well, the Americans can afford to do protectionism. And survive at least for a couple of extra decades in particular markets in which they're being outcompeted by an enemy. Basically, they hold more cards. That's why they can afford it. Smaller countries do not hold enough cards, so they can't cheat at the poker.
The losers. The role of governments, neoliberals claim, should be to eliminate the obstacles that prevent the discovery of the natural hierarchy. Put very simply, neoliberalism is the ideology that clears the way for unfettered capitalism to rule supreme. As you can probably tell, this is the perfect ideology.
To simplify even better, British capitalists will understand that they need to give some leeway to American capitalists or French capitalists or German capitalists in order for them to grow. American capitalists, in the form of, for example, the Trump administration, are questioning that very questioning that very model. They say, no, we don't have to. We can just simply limit their access to our market and continue to grow the way we are.
For the ultra-rich to get behind, because not only does it frame financial success as purely meritocratic, but it also paints monetary gain as some sort of moral accomplishment that the state should by no means interfere with, even if that gain is achieved through exploitation or injustice. It treats the market as a wholly infallible force that rewards the strong and worthy, while ignoring the fact that markets are indifferent to human suffering. Since this market fundamentalism is a key component...
Though I have to say, one could argue that the current American administration is, for example, abandoning neoliberalism, right? By pursuing the protectionist policy of its own national bourgeois. I don't know if I would agree, because it was always the case when it comes to, the biggest player. They would never abandon the national bourgeoisie de facto.
Component of the ideology, markets are often forced into sectors where they shouldn't be. This ideology, in an almost Calvinist sense, allows for the rich and powerful to reframe their opulence and greed as moral and just. It allows corporate interests to ignore those pesky market externalities, to forget about the pollution and exploitation their operations create, because If the free market rewards them with riches, then they must be on the right path. No wonder the ruling class jumped at the opportunity to push Hayek's ideas. But again, they were faced with the obstacle of democracy. Neoliberalism, to most normal people, is not a very enticing ideology, and they sure as shit wouldn't vote for it if they knew what it was.
Despite the millions of dollars that went into promoting the ideas of Hayek and his cohort,
Keynesian economics remained as the mainstream economic consensus, but that was soon to change. The neoliberals knew that it would be hard to implement their policies domestically without first testing them out abroad, and the country that they set their sights on was Chile. Throughout the Cold War, the US government was very involved in Chile. They did not want it to turn communist, and they did everything they could to exert economic and political influence over it. The US even brought Chilean university students to America to study economics at the University of Chicago because it had a reputation for being anti-left. This operation came to be known as the Chile Project, and as author Naomi Klein put it, the goal of the Chile Project was to produce ideological warriors who would win the battle of ideas against Latin America's pink economists. As this battle was taking place on the ideological front, Chile, in 1970, had elected a socialist leader, which was not gonna fly with the Americans. The US spent millions of dollars and used every available resource to destabilize Chile and create the conditions for a coup. They wanted that pesky leftist out so they could replace him with someone else and test out neoliberalism. In 1973, that wish came true. Chile's Marxist president was overthrown and replaced by a military junta, which eventually consolidated under the rule of Augusto Pinochet. Pinochet was a brutal dictator whose fascistic regime was marked by mass murder, torture, sexual violence, kidnappings, and the persecution of leftists.
The LDR in a particular country, you realize the contradictions are too big to fight just with the installation of a welfare state, so you have to speed the process up and utilize violent means, aka fascist policies, in order to make sure that capitalism is not overthrown.
He rid the country of any socialist or Marxist influence, and in the eyes of the Americans, he was the perfect man to implement neoliberalism in Chile. Those same students who studied economics at the University of Chicago were now fully equipped to return home and put their lessons of mass privatization, deregulation, and market fundamentalism into practice. University of Chicago professor Milton Friedman played a key role in indoctrinating these young men, and he was also a prominent member of Hayek's Mont Pelerin Society. Remember that? As the years passed under Pinochet's brutal dictatorship, Chile's wealthy elite thrived, along with American corporations which were free to exploit Chilean resources without the threat of nationalization or government regulation. Pinochet allowed them to operate without restrictions, and if the Chilean population had a problem with that, he would kill or torture them into compliance. Nothing was to get in the way of the almighty invisible hand of the free market. Friedrich Hayek even had this to say about Pinochet's Chile: "My personal preference leans toward a liberal dictatorship rather than toward a democratic government devoid of liberalism." Need I remind you, this fucking guy built his entire career by fear-mongering about how welfare programs were a slippery slope to tyranny. But as soon as he was faced with a tyrannical despot who just so happened to promote his economics, suddenly all that talk about freedom and liberty wasn't so convenient, and he didn't mind a dictatorship all too much. As long as capital flows. It was, quote, a liberal one. Unlike the corporatist blend of state and business seen in fascist regimes of old, such as Mussolini's Italy, Pinochet's regime maintained the hyper-militaristic, ultra-nationalist authoritarianism intrinsic to fascism, but repurposed the state to clear the way for corporate dominance. This model has laid the groundwork for what some have referred to as neoliberal fascism. Which brings me to one of the main points of this video. Free market economics and fascistic...
Simply a different form of fascism. Like, a lot of people think that the Nazi version of fascism is the only one that can be defined as fascist, aka a fascist doctrine that hyper-focuses on ethnic belonging and ethnic superiority, so strictly built out through a fictitious quasi-scientific definition of racial superiority and inferiority. But you can use every single divisional category in order to install a fascist dominance of capital over everyone else in almost any other state, without necessarily using the ethnicity argument or the they-them argument under the presupposition of, again, ethnicity, right? Just the fact that the fact that the Nazis focused on ethnicity doesn't mean that you cannot build a fascist state without utilizing ethnicity as the main cornerstone of your fascist ideology.
Regimes are not mutually exclusive. As we can see, fascistic despots like Pinochet were propped up solely to protect capital.
Fascism can be done with all flavors of capitalism for the in-group, pretty much.
Exploit labor, and enforce what Hayek would call liberalism. By that point, Hayek had distanced himself from the term neoliberalism due to its negative connotations and just went with liberalism or classical liberalism. So now that the Chile project was complete and neoliberalism was proven to treat the ruling class quite well, it was time to bring it home to the West in the forms of Reaganism in the US and Thatcherism in the UK. I should note that neoliberal policies did technically start up under Carter, which is why some people say Reaganism came before Reagan, but it wasn't until Ronald came around that the full ferocity of neoliberalism would be unleashed in the US. I think we all know what Reaganism is: the heavy emphasis on supply-side economics, mass privatizations, deregulations, attacks on labor protections, and the whole neoliberal 9 yards. A similar set of policies was enacted in Britain under Thatcher when she privatized the railways and other public utilities, implemented the poll tax, sold off public housing to private interests, privatized the prison system, and so on. These economic reforms, by prioritizing the business communities and the rich, we were told, would deliver a tide that would lift all boats, but in reality, to quote David Harvey, neither Britain nor the US achieved high levels of economic performance in the 80s, suggesting that neoliberalism was not the answer to the capitalists' prayers. To be sure, inflation was brought down and interest rates fell, but this was all purchased at the expense of high rates of unemployment, averaging 7.5% in the US during the Reagan years, and more than 10% in Thatcher's Britain. Cutbacks in state welfare and infrastructural expenditures diminished the quality of life for many. The overall result was an awkward mix of low growth.
That's why it always goes hand in hand with the massive demonization of the lumpen proletariat and the poorest workers. You do division amongst the working class on who is causing the current shift in economic output, aka life standards are going down. You need to blame someone. You say we're doing free market now. The reason it started going down is because we weren't doing a full free market. You kill the welfare state, but you know that it's gonna keep going down, and the contradictions are gonna keep piling up. So you find some sort of scapegoat. You can find a scapegoat in minorities. You can find a scapegoat in Jews. You can find a scapegoat in the woman who no longer wants to cook. Or you can find the scapegoat the way Reagan and Thatcher mostly did, in the poorest working people, in the unemployed, and in those who are living off of welfare. And huzzah, you have a horde of class consciousness lacking fucking proletarian idiots that are going to suck on your tit as much as possible without receiving any milk in return, while feeling dignified in their vision of the world and their class trader behavior. Literal fucking parasites.
Growth and increasing income inequality. But none of that actually mattered, because the real goal in both instances was to facilitate the transfer of wealth from the bottom to the top. The relentless privatizations and the creation of markets any and everywhere did the trick. One aspect of this neoliberal transformation that often gets ignored is the think tanks funded by dark money that actually come up with these policies that then get handed to governments. To quote Monbiot and Hutchison, we've discovered that the Koch brothers, two of the richest people in human history, developed an entire network of think tanks to lobby for extreme neoliberalism. In Reagan's case, the Mandate for Leadership was a 3,000-page document written by the Heritage Foundation, the same force behind today's Project 2025, that was given to Reagan and entailed thousands of policy prescriptions that ranged from mass privatizations, the scaling back of welfare programs, massive tax cuts for the rich, and so on. We begin to see how this ideology, heavily funded by the ultra-rich, serves the ultra-rich without any concern for democracy. The more governments deregulate, privatize, and implement neoliberal policies, the richer the ruling class becomes, and the more they can exert their influence over politicians and governments. In capitalist democracies, money serves as voting power. The more of it you have, the more of the vote share you have.
So Hitler created oligarchy essentially. I mean, it's a systemic inevitability of a fascist policy, because the fascist policy removes all restrictions to capital accumulation, which allows capital to move quicker into fewer and fewer hands, and for industries to monopolize quicker. So yes, if you have a long-standing, successful fascist state, the number of billionaires ironically will decline, but the amount of wealth held in billionaires' hands will massively increase. The reason it's going to decline is because there are no regulations put in place to make the market do market stuff. It will just allow both the people closest to the fascist party in government, or the ones that had the most capital from the get-go, to basically subsume all other capital, all other bourgeois competition, and then basically create a few monopolies that run all the individual industries inside of the fascist state. Because a fascist state has absolutely no regulations put in place to limit the market or to protect the worker from some sort of through some sort of welfare mechanism.
Effectively control
is the inevitable outcome of capitalism. Yes, absolutely. But with social democracy puts a limit on that. Fascism removes that limit. Hence, why you will just what people like to call an oligarchy, or if you want to call it like a cartel of capitalists. It doesn't fucking matter. But that's the inevitable point. Will the petit bourgeois be eaten up? Yes, absolutely. The petit bourgeois will not exist. Doesn't matter what form of capitalism we have in the next 50 to 70 years. That will not, like the petit bourgeois as a class definition, will not exist in the future. That's why I like to joke around that ironically they have more in common with workers than capitalists, and though I get some flack for it, because like eventually they will be subsumed by the megacorp.
Neoliberalism seeks to break the chains that restrict unfettered capitalism, and as a result, it breeds plutocrats and oligarchs, not democracy. It's very easy to point the finger at Reagan and Thatcher, but the idea that it started and stopped with them distracts us from the fact that the same plutocratic forces behind their administrations are still around today, and they don't just back conservatives or Republicans. Everyone is a neoliberal now. Some of the most grotesque displays of neoliberalism often come from Democrats, Canadian Liberals, UK Labour, and similar parties.
Under capitalist liberal democracies, you don't have anti-capitalist parties. Isn't that funny? How one of the main reasons why they call past socialist experiments authoritarian, and they call them authoritarian because they did not allow alternative parties to participate in political organization. Yet inside of capitalism, you cannot participate in political organization if you are against the free market, because the free market is defined as like a cornerstone of liberal freedoms. Therefore, to be against it is to be against liberal freedoms. Therefore, you are TLDR, quite literally a terrorist.
Bill Clinton's repeal of FDR's Glass-Steagall Act, legislation designed to regulate the financial sector, the revocation of which played a role in the 2008 financial crash, to Tony Blair taking a neoliberal hatchet to the UK's beloved National Health Service, these displays of neoliberalism should not go unmentioned. And this brings me back to the question I asked at the start of this video. Why is it that instead of blaming the neoliberals running...
The stated goals of fascism from Mussolini himself was to use class collaboration in order to maintain capitalism. They thought they could use state control of certain industries and capitalist state-controlled unions to reduce contradictions to the point of pacification. There you go, straight from the horse's mouth. Absolutely correct. But you don't even have to listen to it straight from the horse's mouth. It has been explained by pretty much class analysis from the second that class analysis became a thing. Capitalism, crises, contradictions. Contradictions responded to by dominant class through pacification. Pacification can either be through breadcrumbs, aka social democracy, or it can be through the stick, aka fascism. Can't put it more simply. If you don't get that fucking point, you'll never get that fucking point. You get me? You understand? I hope you understand. I love you.
Our failing economic system to blame.
It might sound too simple because it is. That's it. That's it. Nobody wants the status quo to go away, so we pacify it in different ways.
Always gets dumped.
But both are pacifying. Both are pacifying. That's why I'm sorry, but it is cringe for you to be a sotsdem. It is cringe. It is, bro. Because you're just trying to keep the same thing. Yes, you don't want to hurt as many people as fascists do, but it's fucking cringe.
On marginalized groups. And the answer is simple. Because when we're conditioned to believe that hard work guarantees success, that the so-called winners and overachievers...
But what about leftist unity? I don't think you've ever heard me shit talk anarchists or Maoists or MLs or white tent leftists or orthodox Marxists, and you never will hear. But I shit talk sotsdems because sotsdems are the vanguard of protecting the capitalist status quo, aka respectfully, but that's not left. If the only thing that your movement has ever achieved is prolonged capitalism, how are you an anti-capitalist movement? So yes, I am all for left unity, whatever the fuck that means, but I am for it because I think at the current stage we need to be. But the sotsdems don't count in that. Does that mean I don't want to talk to sotsdems? I love talking to sotsdems, and we should always talk to sotsdems because usually they have that small inkling of class consciousness that can allow them to properly develop materialist and systemic thinking. Okay? Sotsdems are very close. That's why social democracy...
Fire a truck.
Fucking Gavin, thank you for $3. Thank you very much. So, sotsdems are not enemies. Social democracy is. Sotsdems are not enemies. Social democracy, the ideology is. Sotsdems still can be brought over. Arguably, they are the most potent field from which communists and anarchists can be created. But the way you could turn them into communists or anarchists is by annihilating the principles of social democracy and how they understand it in their eyes. That's how you push them down the pipeline. That's how you quote-unquote radicalize them. By taking a stick and fucking hitting social democracy as a concept on the head, which is not even necessarily an ideology. Like social democracy is a strategy.
Will naturally rise and reap the rewards. It's a lot easier to scapegoat and outgroup when that promise falls apart than to question the system itself.
What about the belief that social democracy is the highest we can achieve? You question what it means, like... It devolves. You explain to them how it devolves, and you show them, I don't know, the world outside, which is a prime example of how social democracy devolves. Every time we've been given great things by the welfare state and by social democracy, eventually it's taken away. It's unsustainable. So it is not the highest point we can achieve because it's not a point. It's a point that we zigzag from all the time. Get it? It's not a goal that you can pursue because it's not an end.
Social democracy is getting poop socked on a daily basis. When mom find poop sock. When mom find poop sock. Mom found poop sock. Oh no.
Oh no, it's the social democratic penis snipper guy. It's the social democracy snipper guy. Oh no, don't snip my social democracy. I am Adolf Hitler. I am about to snip your social democracy. No! Boom. I am communist guy. I told you that the fascist guy is gonna snip your social democracy. Ha 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 ha. I am always right guy, said the communist guy. Oh no, he was right all along. He was the right guy. I thought the fascist guy was the right guy. Now I am dumb guy, said the social democracy guy. Yes, as you can see, I am truly brain broken by my algorithm.
It's reassuring to believe that all we need to do to live a fruitful life is work hard. But those who were told to work hard did work hard, and oftentimes found the results underwhelming. This creates an opening for fascistic, divisive rhetoric and strong men to rise to power.
That is why I would like to rise to power through a strongman algorithm, that all ads are bad and all ads shall be made illegal. And in that great fight against advertising here on Twitch, specifically YugopnikTwitch, I am ready to give my own capital in the size of 5 gift subs for every 10 gift subs that are given, in order for every single beautiful chatter, the same as all the beautiful boaters, in order for them to be able to avoid the ads that are about to play. So 35% discount, but another 30% from Yugo only today if you would like to oil my beautiful body and help your fellow chatters fight this plague that our nation is experiencing at the top of every hour. Indeed. Cheerio, chat. My dream of 2,000 subs is not going to be reached this month. I'm going to kill myself. No, I'm not. Oh my God, that's TOS. I'm not. It was a joke. Yo, Twitch admins, that was a joke. That was a joke. I don't know why I said that. That was a joke. Jesus Christ. I apologize.
Trump, who blamed everything on immigrants and the swamp, but once he was in office, he did nothing but serve the same corporate interests. He slashed taxes for the wealthy. He boasts a horrendous anti-labor record, and on his last day of his first presidential term, he rescinded Executive Order 13770, lifting...
Thank you, Grimsman, and thank you, Barry, the fucking biggest oiler in fucking chat, the oiler of all oilers. He has a hot wife, and his wife has a hot husband. Thank you very much for the 6 gifties. Thank you very much. And that actually hits 10, which means another 5 from me, myself, and I. Be like Barry, save some money. Sub now, baby. Yeah, baby, yeah, baby, yeah, baby. Here's another 5 from me, myself, and I. The only place on Twitch where this actually happens. For I might love money, but I hate ads more.
Restrictions that had made it more difficult for government officials to transition between public office and the private sector, particularly in terms of lobbying. After all that talk about draining the swamp, we were left with an even more corrupt corporate shill who used populist rhetoric to stoke hatred and distract us from the real enemy, neoliberalism. If you think this video is going to end with me calling for a return to Keynesian economics or a push towards social democracy, then you would be mistaken. Social democracy would undoubtedly improve the lives
this man is indeed based
of many people living within it, but it does not adequately address the underlying issue. It's still capitalism, and therefore it is still animated by the profit motive.
Thank you, Zitex Gear, for supporting my dream of beautiful 2,000 subscribers. Also, Hype Train incoming. Whenever Hype Train plays, here on YugopnikTwitch, we watch Chinese TikTok, and we say, haha, very funny, instead of talk about serious politic things, yes.
And not human well-being. If we look back at the era where Keynesian economics ruled supreme, say in the US for instance, yes, the quality of life domestically was better. However, it's very easy to forget the fact that that way of life was paid for with the blood and sweat of the developing world. Capitalism, fundamentally, is a system founded on colonial looting and the transformation of natural resources into private property. As President Eisenhower was blessing his population with a 91% top marginal tax rate and a 52% corporate tax rate, his administration was overthrowing democratically elected leaders in Guatemala, Iraq...
What the fuck? Holy shit! Pizza fucking famine. Everybody in the chat right now say pizza fucking famine. Thank you, pizza famine. Thank you, pizza famine. You fucking motherfucker. 178 gift sub. Thank you to my beautiful Oilers that allow this channel to survive and flourish. But also thank you to Yugo for following up that 20 with a more modest 10. Death to ads. Now, Chinese motherfucking TikToks as long as this goddamn hype train rides, baby. We're gonna ride through the goddamn Chinese TikTok, brother. Indeed, indeed. Thank you, Mortal Nightwolf. Let's fucking go. A level 8. I can smell a level 8. I can smell a level 8.
A new child soldier, I mean
Onita, I have a dick. I have created a Lexus event.
I love you.
Every time I get a sub, this is what happens in my brain towards you. Okay, yeah, baby. And don't forget the cute.
You set my soul on fire.
Thank you, Cynical Chris. Let's fucking go, Cynical Chris. The most cynical Chris, but still subs. Thank you very much. Oh no, not the raptor! Brother! Oh my god, brother, what the fuck are they doing to the raptor, brother? Did you see what they're posting on the Chinese TikToks, brother? That are showing our very way of life. They hate what we fucking stand for, brother. Oh my god. I'm about to go and divorce my wife. Oh wait, I'm already divorced. Incredible things are happening in China. Thank you, Barry! At Survive, I'm wearing a seatbelt. Toys. What do you mean they have toys instead of real guns over them Chinas? Thank you, Barry, for the 200 bits, brother. Yeah, we are 57%. Oh no. The weakest Chinese super soldier against a proud Marine. What are these cats even doing? Okay. Oh my god, me and chat for the last 12 months. Aww. I am obviously the dogs. You guys, like from get-go, chat. You and the mods especially have been driving this car. This is me, okay? This is the entirety of my Twitch career. On all the other fronts, I'm serious guy drive. But here, you guys have been at the front seat the whole time. And eventually you will be at the front seat.
The knife down.
Not a chance. Wait, Bill? Rick? From high school! Rick? Stand!
2012 ass fucking meme. But I thought China very poor.
Over here just in North-East standard start on the with Rara and Panko. Game also is the fence, but
oh my god. What the shit? That's probably illegal. Okay, why don't they use that in war? I know that that's like a very shitty take to have, but why don't they use this in war? Now, war is already as fucked up. 40 seconds left. But why not use this in war? Like, just blind the shit out of your enemy. Like, why don't they use this in war? Like, what? They do. Okay, they do. Probably do. Probably because they have missiles. But where shoot missile if you blind? Answer me this, brother. Where shoot missile if blind? I am blind. I know long where to shoot missile. Thank you, Barry, for continuing the Chinese TikToks, you fucking legend. Which brings us to 10 gift subs, which means another 5 gift subs from me, myself, and I. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Guys, is this Marvel? I never watched Marvel movies. Is this a Marvel movie? Level 8, sick. I'm gonna zoom. Oh no, it's the Bobber. Bobberino curvido. This is animal abuse. Oh my god, it is Big Bobber. Small Bobber turned into Big Bobber. Men. Men. Yeah, brother, yeah, brother, yeah, brother. Nice and cold, brother. Cheers. You know how you know you've grown up? Because I remember when I was a kid, cut off gloves used to look like the coolest fucking shit ever. And you know you've grown up when cut off gloves start looking like shit to you. Women, Swarovski own everything. Swarovski on everything. I am the woman. I'm gonna put Swarovski on everything. Oh my god. Level 8 at 8%. 1 minute 55 seconds remaining.
扳机前推，自动吸水，水量自动上升。我吃上学啦！
观众晚上好，今天是11月29号，欢迎您关注今晚的。哎呦我操！He wanted her to see. Oh my god.
滴滴的家园，没挣着钱疯了。I have no context, but this is awesome. What the fuck? Was that Chinese? Hasbullah? Hasbullah, Hasbik, Hasbullah, Hasbik. Thank you, chat, for the level 8 hype train, 39 sub gifts, and 200 bits. That is extremely kind of you. And in that name, we'll watch some Chinese TikToks for a little bit longer, even though I should cut you off right now. camera froze. Shobля. No, it didn't. Motherfucker. That was a good one. Can I gift sub myself since it's cheaper than subscriber? I guess you can. Oh.
盘点万万没想到的档。
Beautiful.
시민들에게 큰 도움을 줄 것으로 보입니다.
这个是4猴吧？4猴吧？哎呀！嘿！
吓我一跳！吓你一跳，哥们儿，你说的不全是我的。
Fucking tankies.
Это Ролилай, детка?
7夕主播绿季节得到1盆多肉，想换个盆，网购。